All right, I am calling the Village of Cross Plains Board of Trustees meeting January 26, 2026 to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Bratton.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Trustee Borger. Here. Trustee Borger.
Here.
Trustee Polanowski.
Here.
Trustee Calvater. Here. President Lincoln.
Here, please stand for a pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're at public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the village board on any issue. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes while the village board encourages input from residents. It may not discuss or act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda.
All right, I do have one.
Okay,
Nathan McGree is here. He's from, he lives at 3511 Bond Road in Mount Horeb. You can come up and state your name.
Good evening. My name is Nathan McGree. I'm here this evening because I am running for Dane County Board of Supervisors for District 28, which is our district here. I wanted to introduce myself, take time to come to the Village Cross Plains meeting, see what we will have on the agenda and learn more about what's going on in your community. If I am elected to that position, I plan on coming to all the town and village meetings within our district, at least biannually, to make sure that I'm understanding what our rural community needs. I made the choice to run for this position because I feel that our rural community does not get the attention and or the say that it needs to get on the Dane County boards. So I want to take the time to introduce myself, say hello. I'm going to stick around after the meeting if anybody had any questions or wanted to chat about anything. I'd love to talk with you. So thank you very much for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? How about on the internet?
I do not see anyone.
We'll move to the consent agenda. Upon request of any trustee, any item may be removed from the consent agenda for separate consideration under general business. Does anybody have anything they'd like to separate? All right, do I have a motion to accept approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same. So moved. We'll go to report of village officers. I have nothing to add that's not on the agenda.
I just have some anniversaries. Roger Flipper has 62 years on January 4th. Chief Tony has 6 years on January 6th. And Catherine Bear at the library has 20 years on January 31st. That is amazing. That is it.
All right, thank you very much. Other trustees? Bill?
Just as a reminder, and Bobby may be talking about this, but there's a primary coming up February 17th. It's gonna be here at the library. There are three things to vote for the primary. One is gonna be Dane County Circuit Judge. Another will be Dane County Supervisor, which is heard from Nathan, and Cross Plains Municipal Judge. Again, this is just a primary. That's a countywide primary. And then also, I'm doing a training for the election inspectors. Beginning part of February, we're doing a pre-training on Wednesday for staff and Joe and Mike.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, village administrator.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick thanks, shout out to our public facilities team. They've been out plowing snow in some really cold weather, working some long hours. And then there's been some water main breaks on top of that. So really appreciate all that they do to keep the road safe and our community running. And then Chief Tony isn't able to be here tonight, but he wanted me to offer his thanks and pleasure working for the village after 6 years. All I've got.
All right, thank you very much. Village department heads or other reports, anybody? All right, we'll move on to general business. Discussion and possible action regarding Markstone Development application regarding I can't even say. it.
Covenant.
Covenants, thank you, restrictions and easement.
Sure. I can just give a brief summary. So this one, so this was on the November 24th agenda, but the board had voted to postpone that item to a future meeting. So some of the feedback that was discussed at that meeting was solar placement, so solar panels, chickens and ducks, signs, metal roofs, clotheslines. Jay had a couple things there. And so anyways, the developer agreed to eliminate the language pertaining to solar, but they did keep their language about the chickens and ducks, and kept their sign and clothesline language as well. So this has been approved or reviewed by village staff, including village attorney, engineer, and planner. There's no specific objections, so the recommendation is to approve this declaration.
All right, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the declaration regarding the, I can't say it. It's off Mark Stoller.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second, any discussion? Go ahead, Bill.
So, if I was looking for property, I would not move into this subdivision because the covenants are so restrictive. And they're also very subjective, and for example. There's one area that says. When they're talking about building elevation, the architecture shall be well proportioned and designed with emphasis on street facing elevation. I get the second part of it. But well proportioned, super subjective. A lot of these covenants that they have in here are really subjective. Again, if I was, and I would not buy a property from this developer with these covenants, but if that's what they want to do, that's up to them, so.
Yeah, I think we have to be careful not to go into someone's business plan. And that's part of their business plan to have these restrictions in there. I think there were some, like I say, the solar for me that's going against our sustainability plan. Plus, what we want to see in that area. So that I can understand, why we asked for that to be removed. They did. So otherwise, we just gotta be careful not to get too deep into someone's business plan.
Well, the other thing that I want to point out, and I know we had a discussion about this, was on 5.7, which is on page 26. They talked about signs, and no signs of any type shall be displayed on residential lots without prior written approval. And I thought we talked about this. I thought we talked about, people who wanted to put up signs for voting and elections and that type of a thing. Didn't we?
Well, we talked about it.
You
I
didn't
think,
change anything on it.
But I think
No.
that's, we run into that in our neighborhood too, where we're not supposed to have signs, but I think because of free speech, you still can post.
Yeah.
Those signs.
The First Amendment's gonna draw that.
Yeah,
But I mean, if this would cover if someone was putting up a sign that said like, Jim's plumbing shop, come
Sure.
on in, that would protect against that.
yeah, go ahead, come on up, Joe.
Good evening. So we did talk about it.
Yep.
And we were tasked to review these 4 items. We looked at your other most recently subdivision covenants.
Yep.
And I will tell you of the 3 previous, 2 of them, the language is exactly like ours. Scenic Ridge and Glacier Ridge. Creek Crossing is silent. So what we did when we looked at the chickens, the signs, clotheslines and solar, there was no clear path. And, subjective, sure. I will tell you, I probably have done 10 to 15, maybe more. Deed restrictions, condo documents, there's not a perfect one. There's never gonna be, no one's ever gonna agree to them. And, you know, I agree, if somebody doesn't wanna move into our subdivision because of our covenants, I get it,
Sure,
that's their choice.
right.
But our neighborhoods, in our opinion, have lasted or been good, been tested through the years because of these restrictions like this.
So what are you gonna do if someone puts up a political sign?
Well, we talked about back in November, I think by the time we'd have to take them to court. And literally, unless they put it up super early, and I mean, I did see one for, November, a year ago, November, I just saw when someone's still in their yard and going on, really. But, you know, if it's, first of all, temporary ones, we're not gonna have time to get them to remove it. We can send them a letter. But if somebody keeps it up after the election and I'll tell you, if it's 15 days after the election, we will start the process.
Well, you should, and they're supposed to come down within a week after the election.
Yep. So,
That's
you know,
our ordinance.
Right.
yeah, and you know, I don't think people, as much as they might pay attention to our deed restrictions. Obviously, they're not paying attention to your ordinances either, because they're staying up more than a week. So, you know, it's our ordinance, or your ordinances are really no different than our deed restrictions. It's how far you guys want to push it, how far but we've been successful. You know, I'll just give a very simple example. You have to cut your grass, and I believe it's twice a month. And that's even vacant lots that haven't been built on. And if you go over to Pioneer Point right now versus other subdivisions, you'll see every vacant lot, grass is cut. Because we enforce the deed restrictions. They're there for a reason. People buy because of the deed restriction, and people don't move in because of deed restrictions. It goes both ways. Sure, we get it. But we're very comfortable, and again, I think our subdivisions have lasted or been proved over the test of time because of deed restrictions.
Okay, something for us to evaluate, and I just wanted to bring it up.
You bet.
So appreciate that.
Cameron?
I didn't notice the lawn section last time. Do you anticipate most of the houses having sodded yards? Is that what they did at Pioneer Point?
No,
So you expect most people to have seeded yards and then also putting in irrigation? Okay. Like, it's fine that it's in the covenants here, but just, you know, our water is expensive, so, and we don't, you know, so builders are gonna wanna put in a second meter.
Yeah.
One for outside, one for inside.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else? Michael?
Well, I'm just gonna say, I don't know if I can get past the no chicken thing. We've done a lot with our chicken ordinance and the state restriction disallowing it. Not sure that I like it that much. Really don't like it at all. Think it's a nice thing we have in our village. All residents should be allowed to do that. That might be part of his business plan, but I think it should be removed. I'm also just curious, we're still working on the entrance sign issue currently and things like that. We still have the construction documents, so they'll be coming back.
Yep.
Some resolution on that stuff. But that's pretty much what I had to say about that. Was concerned about that and the concern about the signage. So I'd like to see the poultry removed, birds or poultry removed. I don't know if birds or poultry, or just poultry removed from these state restrictions.
But you know, we have other neighborhoods that have that restriction.
and the one right next to it.
Yeah. Ours says the Blakens.
And
Well, that's something we should have checked then.
Judy?
well, that'd be one of the reasons I would wanna live in first, because they don't want to, but even though I did, but I don't want my neighbors having one. I've lived in that development because they don't allow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any others? All right, let's, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same,
Nay.
okay? Number 2, discussion and possible action regarding final street design for County Highway KP. I got through that one. Come on up, Ryan. Good evening.
I didn't have a whole lot for you on the design itself tonight. But we are progressing, this has gone over to Dane County Highway. You just incorporates their comments, which were fairly benign, related to the spacing. Some of those items. We do have, so what you see tonight is a little different than what I had last time. These are actually construction drawings. Just for reference, the purple that you see in the packet and on the screen, that is new storm sewer. You just call that out a little more dramatic way. The remaining line work there, gray lines, thin gray lines represent existing features, so existing edge of road, existing edge of crops, that sort of thing. Thicker black lines are the new curb and gutter, the new path, and the new paint markings on the street itself. So in summary, we're still at that 36-foot width, which accommodates the 2 travel lanes and 2 bike lanes with paved shoulders, whatever your pleasure. The path itself, 10 foot wide. Everything here does stay within the right of way. As we head towards the east, if you went on Carly, heading down on the sheets themselves. As we go through the sheets, this is going further east. So on the screen right now is the driveway for this senior housing. Cross there, and then approach Creek and Bourbon Road. This is where the reconstruction widens out to accommodate that bypass lane. So westbound travelers on KP. And the reconstruction actually would end at the limit of where the bridge project ended. And then that next sheet references the resurfacing that's being proposed to be from the bridge to the north to peel off that top layer of asphalt, repave, and rush that. Schedule for the project is still currently to put this out on the streets next week. For bidders to submit bids, and then I'll be back here a month from tonight with bid results. Of the recent vintage, in fact, just today, we did hear back from Dane County regarding the cost sharing. And they're getting a little squirrely with how to split the grant money. So I think it's not on the agenda tonight, but I think it's probably gonna require a conversation with UJ and on that. He's the highway commissioner. And just to get everybody back up to speed, there's a new highway commissioner from years past. Pam Dunphy was there for many years. She retired 2 years ago. The new commissioner is taking a bit of a different posture relative to the grant monies that the village has secured for the path portion of the work. We had been proposing the project costs, that is the path, and the reconstruction. Put into a pile, a bowl of costs, project costs, divide that by 2. And then you can use your grant money to pay for your half. The county pays for its half, however they want to fund it. In exchange for that, you would then take the street over, called jurisdictional transfer. And that's how you worked out County P. Also, from the commissioner, he's instead insisting at the moment on taking the project costs, removing the grant, and then dividing by 2. Which the way the arithmetic works there is that you would be sharing your grant funds with the counties. So the incentive for you to take over jurisdictional control, so pothole patching, perpetual maintenance, really goes away.
Oh, they would keep it?
Well, or you just don't do the project.
No, hang on. I just want to clearly understand. So he's saying we do this pot thing split, but they will keep.
No.
Oh,
You still-
because then I would have taken it in a heartbeat. Okay, so he wants basically half the money and for us to take over.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Can you do that?
well, you can do whatever you want when you
Yeah.
negotiate.
Yeah.
We aren't gonna
Currently,
agree to that.
Yeah, so you have your grant money. You have an agreement with Pam This was before the jurisdictional transfer really crystallized. So back when you were applying for the grant, you had an agreement with Pam, with Dane County Highway, that says, we, Dane County, understand you're going after this grant money. We're fine with you building a path in our right of way. That's your project. We're not gonna prohibit it or permit it. Go nuts. God bless you. So that agreement was in place before the jurisdictional transfer. So you could still do your path. And just not do anything on the roadway itself. And then not take. We would just want to remind the group that the grant monies that you do have. It's 2 grants, one from Dane County Parks, totally different than Dane County Highway. They don't talk, they're different places. And one from DNR to fund the trail. Those do expire. In early calendar 27, so 26 had always been anticipated as the path construction, and then one thing led to another in the discussions to bring us to the jurisdictional transfer idea. But again, that was foundationally based on the arithmetic working in the village's favor, because you're gonna take 2. So, that's more just an update, because you came through the email this afternoon. But I can chat with you offline too.
Yeah, we gotta chat because, yeah,
I have a question. How much is all this grant money that they want half of? I don't remember.
About 805.
well, it's, our grant money's 500,000.
He says 800.
I thought it was 500, 250.
I was thinking of a different grant. You're right. It is
It's 500,000.
250 plus 250.
So they want $250,000. Essentially what it sounds. 315,000. 315.
I don't wanna spend too much time on this, on the negotiation part, but I've always been under the impression that half of KP, the south side belongs to the village. The north side belongs to the county. Is that not correct? They own the whole thing?
The village limit does cut through, but the roadway itself, they're the jurisdictional entity of control. They control.
So they plow it and everything?
There's probably a little bit of wish-wash between, who gets there first and who needs to turn the plow around, but potholes for sure, resurfacing for sure.
Okay,
That's 100% county right now.
okay. Yeah, we can talk about
I'll
that.
give you a call tomorrow.
What do you need tonight?
I guess I'm just gonna tell people. I was not going to go to bid unless we can get this thing resolved. So,
That was my next question.
well, I
Why
wanted
do
to
we
call
put
that
a
out.
bid versus
Because,
not knowing the grant
yeah,
situation?
We would just. What I'm gonna suggest, and there's no really action, but you can wait or blink at me or something, but, I was gonna sit tight on the bidding until we get confirmation from the county that they're gonna share in a way that's advantageous to the village, and until that time, I'm just gonna cool my jets. And, worst case, we open bids in March. Or we peel off the rest of this and we only go to bid for the path project. You get some options, it's not.
Yeah, I'm just, going for bid doesn't really address who's paying for it. I'm just wondering if there's an advantage of knowing what the price tag is when you go into negotiations. Cause that's one less thing that you're guessing at. If you have a bid there and you say, this is what the cost is, this is what you need to pay, this is what we'll pay. I can see both ways. I can see what you're saying to get that done ahead of time, but sometimes there's an advantage of knowing what the dollars that we're talking about are.
We're quite comfortable in it with our cost estimate on
Okay.
this, and the county has reviewed that as well. And they're comfortable.
Okay, all right.
I know you're coming off the village hall experience. But streets are pretty boring. We get really good at.
Estimating what.
Estimating what
linear feet of
street cost.
concrete is.
Yeah, it's just so boring.
Well, as long as you have a price, because I think that's critical in negotiations.
What do you think this is gonna cost total? That wasn't in the plan. You have that estimate.
Yeah.
The grant money was for the path though.
Yeah, right,
Just for the.
right,
path.
but they're trying to get the path, so that's a dollar value. So I wanna put a dollar value on the other stuff too. Right, when you negotiate, you really should.
Yeah, and I have all of that. Jay.
Yeah, no, that's fine, as long as we are
Right
comfortable.
now, we're looking at a total project cost of 1.15 million, 1.2. So that's on there. The grants, you have two grants. One is the county grant is for 270,000, the DNR grant is for 245,000. But yeah, we can dive into that.
Yep.
So, I don't need anything from you other than just providing I'm gonna chat with Jay tomorrow, Jason, chat with the county and see if they can come to an agreement, and I'm gonna sit tight to go through the agreement to this.
So looking at this. If this cost gets split in half, our cost would be 600K and we have 515 in grants, so we're almost getting this road for $85,000. If they give us all the grant money.
No. It's 1.5, so take the
This is-
three to
this is
1.2.
after-
Okay,
this is
one,
after-
Oh, this is grant taken out.
Yeah, so it'd be 1.66.
Oh, okay, that's what I,
Free.
okay, yeah, the total cost is 166. Okay, that's
So
where I
you divide
was,
that by two, you'd be 833
and then,
per,
gotcha,
if that's, but we subtracted your grant from your 833.
right,
It'd be 316.
right, I got you. Right, it makes the total cost. If we get it all, 316 for the whole road. And that's why they don't want to pay the 833, or we're just paying 316, taking.
Yes, but my point is when you're taking on perpetual care, of a mile and a half.
Keep driving that one.
well, see, to me, this is even simpler. Why are they even talking about the trail? They have nothing to do with the trail. They're not part of the trail. They should be just dealing with the roadway.
To be fair, I'm trying to get them to pay half the trip.
Oh,
I like where he's coming from.
Yeah, it's 1.66 total cost for trail and road.
Yeah, on the premise that on County P. Village added a lot of ton of sidewalk, or sidewalk never existed before, and the county paid for half of that.
So the county should pay for half of this trails, or.
That's fine.
Because it could connect county recreation trails too, right?
well, yeah, but transportation's not gonna care about that. That's why we got the grant from Park.
Yeah.
Use it, bargaining, Jay.
Well, yes, I understand that, but again, you don't wanna be called out either.
We're not doing any water on this project, no.
Correct. We're adjusting some fire hydrants that are in the way of that.
Sure, but we're not doing anything underneath.
No significant changes to sewer or water. So, just a longer update for now.
One thing I did notice on there is, it said that the electrical transformer up from Milestone would be relocated by others, or do they have to move that, MG&E, or do you know?
MG, no,
They're gonna have to move that with the construction going on and everything happening, it's gonna have to leave.
yeah, anything that's in the public right of way is there at the pleasure of the jurisdiction holding entity. So, if holes are in the way on a village project, you gotta get moved. If transformers in the way, you gotta get moved. It's pretty normal.
Pretty normal.
So, and that's actually a cost. They
Oh.
get that in exchange for using the right of way rent free.
Oh, so they'll move it for free since. Okay, I just saw that, and that's what I was wondering, if they're costing. That was expensive to do this.
More than $0, but that's part of MGM's existence.
That's what.
Every given year, that doesn't.
But there's just light poles, there's no overhead wires on that section, is there?
There's a lot of them, pretty heavy. over there.
That's where that transformer.
There's all those
there's
power lines.
Power lines.
Why didn't they bury the power line? Well, we got the road.
Very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
That
We've,
was,
Much more
tried that
expensive.
once before and
it's, no,
nope. And those are pretty high voltage ones. So there's all kinds of things that have to go with that.
I think those.
They took a street light off my street, we're supposed to bury a line in my backyard.
Well, we tried the belt line to get all those power lines buried instead of the big poles along the belt line there.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think too costly.
Really,
I think a long time ago it was discussed for Highway 10, I think it was gonna add $1 million to it.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, to this period of time. That's why the village, and MG was gonna charge us to do
Gotcha.
it, and we decided not to, and I think it would probably be very expensive.
I think poles would be great.
All righty. Let's move on to number 3, discussion and possible action regarding Brewery Creek flood mitigation scope update.
So we had a good call before the holidays with Wisconsin Emergency Management. About increasing funding there. To recap, the project was awarded grant funding for a about $300,000 project cost that would have cost the village $30,000, about a 90%, 10% split, so very attractive. That was some number of years ago, and before the project was designed. The company that is working on the design for you, EOR, company. They completed their design and trued up their cost estimates and are now in $2026 looking at about $540,000 compared to $300,000. So a significant increase. That's tied mostly to when the grant funds were applied for. They were under the impression that, right, depending on who you talked to at the time, they were thinking that you were gonna take control over a bigger piece of land as part of Creek Crossing. And would allow you to use all of that field to spread the dirt. And you come through scrapers and then just deposit the dirt elsewhere in farm field. As that project, the Creek Crossing project transpired, they did not take over the whole field, that portion of it. So you need, in order to do this project, you have to haul the dirt away. And even if it's hauled nearby, it's significant because you have to load the soils into a road rated truck. So you can't just put it in one of those big old Tonka trucks and run through the dirt. You have to put it in a road rated truck. And at that point, whether you go a half mile or 20 miles, it's more expensive. So that's where the cost is. Since that time, staff and I called Wisconsin Emergency Management. They have agreed to the idea of up to $95,000 of additional grant funding, adding to the grant. And also agreed to shrinking the scope to get us down to a $400,000 project. Provided a couple things are done. One, they want to see what that would look like on a plan perspective. They also want the applicant, who happens to be the same gentleman who now works for EOR, to tweak out the cost benefit help for emergency management. So I'm here tonight, since I was gonna be here anyway. I told EOR I could carry the water, so to speak, the Brewery Creek water for them. They are at the end of their contract. They have executed on drawings, specs, and a cost estimate. And in order to get the new drawings done and the cost benefit analysis, they would require more funding for that. I told them I will check. They don't, because they don't know if it's gonna happen, they were a little hesitant to come up with a lump sum number, so I was gonna propose an hourly time and materials with a not to exceed at a level that you all were comfortable with. Whether that's 2,000 or 5,000, they'd have to come back and ask for more at that point. I think it would probably take about 2 to get all the calculations done, and probably around 5 to get plans done for the update. So I would recommend allowing them to do that, but that's your call. As it sits right now, so we don't have a $300,000 project. You've got a $540,000 project and a $300,000 grant. So I would suggest to the group that it's a good use of funds, but totally up to you.
I played that back. Not a $300,000 project, 533. Emergency management is open to bumping up the grant to 400 and reducing the scope of the project down to 400, but they want to see a plan. The company who makes the plan needs additional money to come up with to devise the new plan that is of a smaller scope and is a $400,000 project that the emergency management group would cover all of.
Yeah, all those costs would be fundable,
Okay.
For all of this particular grant program. It's a reimbursement program, so you have to pay the costs up front, and then, yes, those costs would be funded.
And you're thinking if we did not to exceed 5,000, it should cover what we need.
So this was such a small impact project to start with. When it comes to flood mitigation, right? I mean, it made an effort and it started what could go up the valley, but it was small to start with, so by shrinking it 20%, would you say is what it's gonna be shrunk?
Yeah.
Is there a value in it anymore? Because it's gonna be so small.
That's part of what, that's that cost benefit analysis calc that Wisconsin Emergency Management is requiring, is they wanna see that something can still be done to provide some benefit. Now, from their take, they're interested in both flood mitigation and habitat restoration. So how you put a value on that is.
I know, and
Yeah.
see, that's part of my concern is they're really gun ho because this is the first in the state that they're using a natural basin for. It fits in well with us for our sustainability plan and what I think the community wants and everything, but you know, and I'm glad that, you know, the cost benefit, I understand that part. But I think what they're looking at, is there a benefit? And the question is there much of a benefit for the village? This is a great testing plot, and if people are comfortable with, you know, testing this model, you know, to see, because it is gonna be watched to see the success on it, because it's new.
That's the area and P area.
Yeah,
Hillpoint,
yeah.
right?
So, but to do the cost of, the part of the 2 to 5,000 is the cost benefit, right? And then they're gonna probably do the drawings first and then do the calculations, I would imagine.
Well, they may imply that they do the calcs first,
Okay,
get those submitted to WE, Wisconsin Emergency Management.
okay,
If they agree, then they.
Okay.
Would be a bit of a stepwise thing.
so the first thing we'd be paying for is the cost benefit. And then if the FEMA and the state think it's worthy, then we would be paying for the new modified plan.
Right. Those dollars expire July of 27,
Yeah,
so there's not really a gun to your head as much as.
no, we gotta make a call because price is
Yeah.
just gonna keep
It's a good
going up.
idea,
We're
it's a good
gonna,
idea if it's done. Yeah.
we're gonna have a little retaining pond there eventually. Michael, you wanted to say?
Yeah, what does the cost benefit analysis, what does that result look like? What is, I mean,
I asked that same question. There are factors that FEMA and WEM, FEMA publishes, WEM uses. On, you know, what is how do they attach dollars to societal benefit for flooding?
yeah, like, is it,
And I can't pretend to tell you I understand how they do that, but so this project would hold back so many acre feet or cubic feet, gallons of water beyond the base case. And FEMA has come up with it, well, for every billion gallons of water, that's 3 billion, making up numbers.
right,
$3 billion of property damage and economic loss, therefore every gallon is worth.
X amount of.
And it's a black box.
Right.
It's a way to somehow quantify it, because it is 1 gallon worth $1.
Right, so that's what I was just wondering how they did that.
But it is this, the standard by which they evaluate other applications and.
So with the project being scaled down, that cost benefits gonna go down, obviously, since it's not.
It'll go down, but and the cost will go somewhat up. So you need to be above that
Right.
limbo stick to still stay relevant. Jay's points are correct, that the state was and is excited about the project because they haven't done one like this before. And they've done traditional dig a hole, make a pond, call it good. And this is
Kind of,
restoring it to like pre-settlement.
Bill?
So August of 2018, we had a 500-year flood. And I think that's where this is.
No, this would not have made a difference on that.
I understand that. Right, no, I know that, but I think that's where we started talking about flood mitigation.
Oh,
More
absolutely,
seriously
Mhm.
after that flood in 2018.
correct. I think the whole state has started, because flooding is, well, the whole nation, flooding is becoming a much bigger problem than what it was 20 years ago.
Sure, but my question is, right now, when you're looking at when you're looking at Brewery Creek and any building zoning or anything like that, aren't they looking at a 100-year zone before you can, you can't build in and out of that?
Correct.
So this this mitigation, I think that's what we're trying to get to. What is this really buying? Is this buying us? You know, how much land, how much real estate is it buying us going down the creek or creek? You know, you can't answer that because it's a black box.
It's tough. I will tell just the group that for sure would make zero difference in that event.
Right.
You couldn't afford to make a difference in that, like, just, to move the village, or the whole downtown. But it would make a difference in the 80-year event. You need to get 80-year events. I'm making that number up also, but it's not totally useless because there are a lot of storms between a half-inch rain and an 18-inch rain. So it'll help with those other ones that would have otherwise become a flood that maybe now don't.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, if you remember when we put in our original grant, we were going from this spot all the way up past Enchanted Valley. So this is kind of a starting point, and if there's some success with that, there might be more inertia to go farther up the valley, and the farmers might see the benefits and
More funding.
more funding and stuff. So, you know, there is a benefit to getting that first block put down.
Okay.
Is any of that development related, like to move the town that way, or is it just strictly flood mitigation?
It's just flood. Well, what are people's thoughts?
Well, I'm for spending the $5,000 to see if we get any cost benefit, especially if they're willing to up the grant to where it's not. If it gets awarded, we will really have to pay a whole lot to have this project done, the way I'm understanding it, right?
Yeah, it would still be 90-10.
Okay,
So you'd be trying to look for 10% of the whole thing.
We already have 28,000 budgeted for this.
yeah, see, I'm fine with doing that. Let's give it a go, see what the cost benefit comes back, and if it's the first thing, we'll see if it works, and why not, right?
All right, no, well, make a motion
That's what I'm
then.
saying.
Well,
Is the 5,000 number just coming off of your head, or?
Well, that's
is that
what he
you
said.
Okay.
Not to exceed.
Not to
I would
exceed.
say not to exceed. I would always do not to exceed for now.
But where does that money come from? Where does the 20, what you said, 2,800?
Well, we already budgeted. That was in capital probably 2 years ago.
Housing capital. So we take, so the rest of it, we'd have.
No, that's part of the match from the original part.
Okay,
So we can't, this would be new money going into the.
All right, so where does that come from?
Well, it'll come from either our fund balance or we find a place where we make some savings. I can think of a few spots that we have savings going on right now that would easily cover it.
Okay,
If the project has decreased in scope though, are we still in it? Is that 28,000 all still have to be used?
Yeah, cause it's a percentage. It's a
Oh, I
10,
realize, but it's 10% now of a smaller.
But it's.
Yeah, but it's 40,000 now, so 10% of 40,000 is 40,000.
So Back, so the 20,000 was 40,000.
Yeah.
With this additional 5,000
If the project,
Okay,
happens.
all right, are you making a motion, Michael?
I can.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't have it. My motion. To continue the Blue Creek flood mitigation project. With a max amount of $5,000 for EOR. Engineering.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? So this is just gonna be for the cost analysis and then redoing the plan. If needed.
And then from there, we make a decision after.
Yeah, so next steps, the cost analysis would go to WEM. They would bless it, then we would ask them to change the grant award, to be another 95,000. I say 95, they can go up to 100 without asking Washington for help, and they really don't wanna trip any triggers in Washington.
Right.
Then once you got your extra money, and we had a project and a pile of grant money that would equal the same dollar, then we go to bid. So probably late summer. So we go to bid for a winter, like a year from now, possible.
I assume it would be heavily publicized within like those ranks that they're gonna try this outside the little village crossroads. If it went through.
He's saying because the state wants to do it, is what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely get publicity. I'm even thinking. While we have that money into it, I think there's. Opportunity to have like groundswell, maybe would be willing to kick in the extra money and stuff like that. Cause it's permanently gonna stay there. That would be something right up their alley. And it's a smaller, I think there's smaller grants we could apply for to cover. The extra cost, but once we get the bidding and all that set, then that's time to do that.
Is there anything the county can help us with?
Like, there are no programs at the moment that Dane County's putting on.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's getting off subject a little bit. So we have a motion and a second, Michael.
So then EOR would do the drawings. Wouldn't you guys mail it? The Town and Country manage the construction of this thing?
Yeah, that's
Like,
really what our role is in the project is this type of design, and it's dirt. And bit of dirt, but it's weird dirt and weapon stuff that we just don't do. We don't have that expertise. EOR does, however, they don't do a lot of construction. So our role is to get it to bid with all the right forms and all that stuff, help administer the grants, and then help with construction management.
Okay, I was just wondering what you're kind of picking this up, they're gonna finish and you're kind of picking it up and running with it.
Yeah, the drawings have EOR plastered all over them and everything, we just help execute them.
That was my question.
Question, when they do those drawings, are they gonna be like the stuff that
Pretty similar.
people, like, I can't understand it, or it's just gonna be lines and is
Um,
there a way to get like a topographical, like pretty picture?
Topographical, yes, whether it's pretty or not, but yeah, I can actually send Carly what we had today to me.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm just curious, cause all those lines confuse me, I get it, but
Alrighty. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. So moved. Thank you, Brian. All right, number
If
four.
anything else, I'm gonna sneak out.
Yeah, that's fine. We have a emergency management meeting at 9, just so you know. But I'm just wondering if I would like Carly in on that conversation, so maybe we'll call you from here.
Tomorrow?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're around 10-ish, maybe.
all right,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
All right, discussion and possible action regarding new village hall and police department. We have 3 subsections. One is construction update.
Yeah, so I can do this.
Yeah.
We decided that we would provide an update each month just on the construction progress. So construction obviously has begun. That started on November 3rd. And so I'm going to provide a memo like this each month that just kind of has a little bit of the timeline and like what's going on with construction. So obviously in October, we awarded the contract to Brickell Brothers. They started on the 3rd of November. And then as of November 11th, we started our first bi-weekly, so that's the owner and engineer meeting with Brickell. And then Wold is a part of those too. So Jay and I are on those calls as well as Matt every other week. Now we're meeting at the job trailer on site. So we get updates at those meetings. And then in December 1st was the groundbreaking ceremony. So they started out with site work. So they do grubbing to kind of prepare the site. They do the footings, geopiers, site utilities, all things that I've been learning a lot about. And then as of December 18th is when they really started working on the building itself. So right now you can see if you drive by that there are two foundation walls that have been formed. And then they're pouring concrete as they're able to. Obviously, the last couple of weeks, it's been really difficult for them to actually pour concrete because there are restrictions on temperature and you want it to cure properly. So it's like structurally, there's like integrity, obviously, with the structure. So that's what they're working on now. And then strip wall forms as well. So those footings are installed. So that's just kind of what they've been working on the site itself. Also just a couple of other updates just that staff have been working on the side. So furniture, we are working on getting quotes from a couple of different organizations. So we'll bring those to you when we have those ready. They're going to be priced via the UW system contract or Sourcewell. So those are purchasing contracts that in our purchasing policy we're allowed to utilize. But because we have a couple of different entities that are interested, we will bring those quotes to you all to decide who we'd go with. The cameras and key card access. So Wold is helping us out with that RFP because they know more about where the wires will go and all of those things. So they're going to be helping us get that RFP ready to go out in early February. And then police lockers. Chief and I have been working with several different vendors there, and that'll also be priced via Sourcewell, so via a purchasing contract. So just so everybody kind of knows where we're at. We'll obviously come back to the board once we have what those quotes will look like, but just wanted you to know that those are all in progress. So I guess that's kind of, and then I have the grant update, but I have that a little bit later. So that's my construction update, unless you have something else, Jay.
Good. All right, we'll go to B. It's our first payment application number 1.
Yes. So you will see all of that. I know I have Matt on here as well. So, so these payment applications will come forward. So that everybody submits everything to Brickell Brothers. And then when they have everything compiled, they then send it to Wold, our architect, for approval. So they have approved everything that you see here tonight. All of this application and certification for payment, and they are recommending that we do pay the amount that is listed here.
Any questions on that? That one will need a motion.
Yes, absolutely. And I wonder if I can-
Except the 578.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment to Brickell Brothers for $578,774.71.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So move. All right, number C.
All right, so this is the WEDC Vibrant Spaces Grant. So this is a grant that Jay and I have been working with. So the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation has this grant. It's a 1-to-1 match.
No, that
Oh, I'm
needs
sorry.
to be changed.
I'm sorry.
25 to 75,
Okay.
because we're a community under 5,000.
Oh, I apologize.
Oh, that's all right.
25 to 75. They just had it in their original documents, but yep, we have 25 to 75% match because we're a community up under 10,000, I believe. Five.
Which side?
We're the 25%. It's 50-50.
50 usually, but because we're under 5,000, we only have to pay the 25%.
Yeah. You consider rural if you're under 5,000.
So this grant is very focused on obviously economic development. So it would be to fund a connection pathway between the Village Hall parking lot to the boardwalk, so people can get to Xander Park. And then also a pavilion, a bike repair station, a little bench. I'm probably missing something today.
Bike rack,
Bike rack.
kiosk.
Yep, kiosk, all kind of near the restrooms, so folks can, utilize all of that space. So we have already gone through, kind of a pre-vetting, for this grant, and they think it's a good project. So there's a resolution tonight that is required for us to have, signed by you all before we can apply for the grant formally.
So what I need is a motion, but we need to make that in the motion with the correction of the 25% to 75%.
Does it also matter that resolution is spelled in the top line?
Well, let's correct everything.
Okay, sorry, guys, I think it's fine, we'll fix it, yeah.
Yeah,
The split in the resolution.
I don't think it is.
Oh, it does one, okay.
Yeah, we have to adjust them
I would just say a 25% match.
instead of 1-to-1.
Or say 25%.
I don't even see where it says 1-to-1 in here.
Second to last
We have it
paragraph.
highlighted here, Bill.
Oh. Is it possible to get a little more itemized item or document of what this will all include?
Absolutely.
Sure, we can send you the narrative.
Yep.
Or is it already in our OneDrive?
No.
No, it's not, but I can put it there right after the meeting.
System.
But I can insert it in the OneDrive right after the meeting tonight, so you can take a look at the narrative.
Yeah.
Well,
I can put all of the stuff that we put in the pre-vetting application.
because this was the first I know you've talked about it before, but I didn't know that's what this was called until I kind of looked it up and figured out what this vibrant space grant was.
Oh, what the grant one?
Oh.
Yeah, that's,
I had to do some searching to figure out what the hell that was.
you had to do a lot, right?
No, not
Oh,
really.
I
But I was
I thought it was a little difficult.
I went to ChatGPT, said, what is vibrant
Oh.
space grant in Wisconsin? That's
Well, defining it is where I thought it was difficult,
yeah,
but we got through it and yeah, I think it's good just to put the pre-application on there that has
Mm-hmm.
all the narratives and all the prices and all the copies of the items.
Yep, everything that we intend to purchase with the grant monies, yep,
so this is just a resolution for the grant,
to apply,
To apply.
to apply for the,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, this was a lot of work for this one.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of the village board for the Village of Cross Plains, Dane County, Wisconsin, authorizing application for a vibrant space grant through the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation with the change in the last whereas paragraph, we changed that incurred but requires a 25 to 75%.
No, just 25%.
25% match.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. And just so you know, the amount we're going for is 45,132.
And I'll send the budget document too, that we kind of put together, the preliminary.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll include all of the materials that we submitted, Jay, just so everybody can have a look at it.
Right, number 5, discussion on investing borrowed money. You want to take this?
Yeah. So back in the fall, right before we did our borrowing, Ellers reached out and they have a service they provide to help you invest your proceeds. So a lot of times you'll borrow money, but you don't spend it all right away. Maybe it takes 6 months or a year or whatever to spend the money. So they have a program where they help you invest the money to get your best rate. In my knowledge, since I've been here, we have not used a service like this. But I don't think we've had quite such big borrowings since I've been here. So anyway, Tammy from Ellers came to the finance meeting in November and did this presentation. Kind of explained what their services are. And at the time, I'll back up. So the IRS has these arbitrage rules. So basically, because we borrow money as tax exempt, we get really good rates. And so what they don't want is you to borrow money at a low rate and then turn around and invest it and make money. And if you do that, you have to kick it back to the IRS, right? So there are some exceptions, which we have always qualified for since I've been here. And one of them is in a calendar year, if you borrow less than $5 million, then the IRS doesn't care. Or if you, another one is if you spend all the money within 6 months. You know, so there's some exceptions to getting around this arbitrage rule. But however, our borrowing that we'll have in 26 could very well be at or over that $5 million mark. So we have to be careful that we don't make too much interest income. Then the IRS will get involved. So one thing that Ellers proposes is they help you, make sure that we're complying with that, right? And they help you kind of put together a spending plan. When we thought construction draws would be, putting the money in different types of investments rather than just at a local bank. So it's like a fixed, what you're getting for your investment rates rather than, if we just leave everything at the bank and we get the variable rate. It was kind of how that was explained to us. The finance committee did feel, if you go to the next page, Carly, down a little bit to the chart. So this was just an example. These are not real numbers really. But the finance committee thought that their fee was quite high to manage the money. And they thought that we could probably do it, get those rates ourselves. And Judy's like, I can help you with that. So, again, for the 25 borrowing, we decided we weren't gonna do this, but we wanted to make sure that the board was aware that this is something we might want to consider for our 26 borrowing, or at least be more aware of the arbitrage rule and that $5 million cap, or just. I guess we're not looking for a motion or anything tonight. It's just making you aware that Ellers has the service they provide that may or may not be a good idea for our borrowing this year. Any questions? Yes.
But we're borrowing, what, 8.5 million this year?
No,
How much we borrowing for the?
we borrowed 3 last year
Yeah,
and we spent 580,000 already of that 3 million. And then we'll borrow another 3 million for the building, and then we'll see what happens with KP.
so we're still within the $5 million within.
That's what finance believes. We don't hold on to our money. I mean,
Right.
this 3 million is probably gonna be gone before we borrow the next 3 million.
92,000 seems like a big price tag.
Yeah, and then we did the math and clearly, they're expensive, very expensive.
It was like a 6% they come in.
Yeah, but I think what's important is the idea that you gotta be careful that you can't go out and borrow and make a ton of money on borrowed money. Because they don't want, obviously, that's not fair to the taxpayers and they don't want you to do it. So the IRS has this rule out there that we just have to be aware of. That's all. It's more of an awareness, educational point.
Seems just like general bad practice too.
Boy, I would agree with
If
that.
you're- Yeah, no, I mean, then, if you're holding on to money too long, you're gonna be investing it that you borrowed it, like then you shouldn't have borrowed so much money, like that, Anyway.
Yep.
I don't like it.
No, I agree. All right. Thank you. Number 6, discussion and possible action regarding position grade system policy, annual minimum and maximum pay adjustments.
You want to take this one too, Bobby?
I can do. So the original policy was passed in 2024, and then so last January, we adjusted the pay scale minimum and maximums. I don't remember what percentage, I think what we blended.
Yeah, that's, the policy should be what we gave for raises.
Yeah, and so then that's what this is.
3%.
Is a
yeah.
3% increase over last year. So that's all we did was adjust the numbers 3%.
If you remember, that's part of the policy that every January we update our
Mhm.
ranges so they stay
Relevant.
relevant.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what we're here for.
Only raise the max, we will raise the minimum of the 3.
They both went.
Yeah, we want to keep the range this in the same. Otherwise, you're gonna get really spread out. Which they already are at 40%. All right, do I have a motion?
I will make the motion to approve the new 2026 position grade system policy minimum and maximum adjustments.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All righty, I have a motion and a second discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed, same. All right. All right, discussion and possible action regarding Cassell software and service proposal.
I'll take that one too. So recently during a software update, our server kept timing out. It's a big headache. Anyway, so I had to have our IT guy come out and he had to replace a piece on our server, went bad. And he's like, this is the original server from when you bought the software. He's like, it's old, server should be replaced, so every 6 or 7 years.
Yep.
He said.
Mm-hmm.
And this is past that now. So they did, Pat, our IT guy, said, instead of buying a server every 6 or 7 years, Cassell offers a cloud-based version of our software. He's like, if you go to that, he's like, then you don't need this piece of hardware. So I reached out to Cassell, did a demonstration of the cloud version, and it's very much the same. And then they gave a proposal, which is an extra $300 a month to our contract.
Bill?
I am 100% in favor of this. Technology is moving at such a quick rate. Servers are becoming more expensive, even though some components are getting cheaper. Having a cloud-based application makes a lot of sense. For quite a few reasons. One is not having to replace a server every 5 to 6 years. So I know this is new money, but I would be in favor of putting this into the cloud.
Cameron?
What do we use Cassell for?
All the accounting software,
Payroll.
payroll, AP, AR, all the utility billing.
How much do we pay now?
Let's say $9,000 a year.
We pay $9,000 a year and they want another
3,600.
3,600. Jeez.
I know nothing about computers, so I'm not gonna speak. I didn't.
Our IT company highly recommends it.
They did.
Yeah, I think Bill made some very strong points, and I have 2 sons that are in the computer world, and they certainly agree that's where to go. My question is more going where I think Cameron was going. If we're going to do this, is this the company, or should we go out and see if there's companies that can do it cheaper than 12,600? That's,
So when we purchased this software, it was $90,000 initial upfront costs. So we could do it, but you have to pay an upfront cost again to switch softwares.
But that was probably for the server.
Yeah,
That was probably for the
No,
server.
it's for the software.
The server was its own price tag. for hardware.
90 grand for accounting software?
Yes, let's see.
This is. I don't know, I haven't done any looking here, but I think we would be remiss not to at least poke around and look at alternatives here. For. Well. Whatever, $1,000 a year. Plus 15,000 for that key person just to migrate it. Like, that seems really, really expensive.
What are we getting? What are we, I mean, are we just getting the software? Are we getting support from them or? Are
We
we?
support all the updates. They actually help me a lot. I build custom reports. They just call, put in a support request and they help build reports for me and
How's their support?
it's really good, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
and did you check into what cloud service they're using?
I don't think I did. I talked to Pat. He wasn't confident it was one of the bigger ones.
Well, if you.
Well, I just want, that was one of the things my son says, make sure it's one of the major ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a big, Casel's a big company.
that's a really good question. Find out which,
Well,
what,
I mean, Bill's right, everything moving to the cloud, I'm not so concerned about that part, I'm just concerned about the amount of money we're paying. In general, but. For. Does it, you think it provides $12,500 of value a year? Probably, I guess.
Compared to the software we had when I started.
Yeah, I don't know, was that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby works in it all day, every day.
Well, I think, like I say, I think,
Counting, we're not counting.
No, I know,
We can't do
it's just-
QuickBooks, okay?
oh, no,
even
I think we've made it where I'm not hearing any disagreement in going to the cloud. I'm just more I just really wanna make sure that we're going to a cloud company that's good, that's strong, because there's been problems with startups and stuff like that. So I think we need to do that, and I'm with Cameron. I don't know enough about this, but it seems if we're doing this switch, then that's the time to look at what's out there and what's better and.
I guess, I feel like we've already invested in the software. I think the time to do that is when we're buying new software. I mean, isn't that the big spend?
I mean,
So,
right, yeah, the upfront.
right,
But I'm not sure software, since the cloud has been invented, that the software is as expensive as things are now. I mean, it's a different
but it's not just
platform.
the software, it's the continued maintenance, right?
What I'm saying, we should look into that. Does anybody really know how it works nowadays?
Well, generally, you're gonna be paying more per month, but not that big upfront cost is more generally for the cloud. But then there's data migration and Bobby has to figure out a new tool and, if she likes the current support team and stuff, you take that risk if you're going to a different platform that maybe that's not as good. So,
I guarantee Renee over there,
yeah,
Do it.
well.
she still doesn't forgive me for switching to this.
So I don't, if you like it, Bobby, I'm, I guess, fine with the 12,000, but then my next gripe is the 15. That'd go to Pat, right?
No,
No, that's for the server.
If he was gonna
If
replace the
they
server.
was- Like, if we don't go to the cloud,
That's buying the server.
we need to buy it.
yeah.
yeah, that's
Oh.
fine to
It's
do
not
server
anything.
at
I'm sorry.
15,000.
So you could buy the server and get by,
That was, okay, that makes more sense.
so you could buy the server, get by for 3 to 5 years, do your research, find a company you like, and then change to cloud. But
Well, no, I mean, if you go dollars and cents,
Yeah.
yes, I think. If you're just looking at dollars and cents, buying a server would be less expensive than increasing our monthly cost. Now, I'm hearing that it might be worth that increase in cost. Because the cloud is a better mechanism than the server. My son says the main reason people go to clouds is the protection of liability. You're no longer responsible for your data. So if there's a data breach, that's why it's important to have a big company. They end up taking the hit not you because they're responsible for your data. So that totally made sense to me. On it, so.
Would you mind finding out which cloud service they are? There's really three big ones. There's Microsoft Azure,
Yeah.
there's Amazon AWS, and there's Google
It doesn't say in that.
GCP.
Oh,
I
let's see.
didn't-
Yeah, those are the three that my son, and that's what he's saying, they
Yeah.
better be with one of those.
Has to be one of those.
Isn't this where they
No,
build the
they
data centers
split
for though?
architecture
Yeah.
So is it really
systems,
cloud
so
based?
one redundancy is all.
It doesn't,
You're right.
it doesn't, when you start doing that, you start breaking your stuff.
What were the three that you said?
Microsoft Azure,
That's what Google says it, or Bing says it is. Microsoft,
Bing says what now?
that Cazell uses Microsoft as, but you can.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay,
Well, then.
well, that's good to know.
Good.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
I don't trust Bing, I'm checking Google.
Go for it.
I'll make the motion to approve the additional $3,600 per year for the Cassell Cloud services product.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and second discussion. One question, how long is that price guaranteed for? Are they gonna jack us up another 3,600 next year? See, that's the other thing that I've heard by going to the cloud. Once you're there, you're
Right.
kind of at their mercy that they can charge whatever they want.
And I will say, every year our annual support costs goes up. For our software, it's not like we're paying the same now that we paid back in 20.
No, I understand that, but I'm just, this is a bigger, I mean, this is a 25% increase. So the question is, how long is this contract good for?
Or are we, like you said, it was a $90,000 upfront fee for that software, does that renew in 10 years, or is there a time to where then you have to pay like another 90,000? Like, you know what I'm saying, like, is there anything like that written in to where it'd be a good time to switch over?
Just whenever we wanna look into a new carrier to save money or.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if that had a time limit structured with it.
It's like a license expire.
Yeah, like if that was the 90 grand for that base license, and then in 10 years you have to pay another 90 grand to.
Well, every 10 years, you're paying 90 grand already.
Well, yeah, but it could be another chunk.
So you don't know the length of the contract that you want us to approve?
You should get that. This quote
Yeah,
doesn't
this-
have any terms on it for that.
So how long that $3,600 is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm surprised, I mean, whenever we quote our product, we give a 3 or 5 year quote, depending on what is going on, there's nothing on here for terms.
It just says it's valid.
That's the quote. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, it's
we're
basic.
voting on this, but I'm not comfortable with every year going up 3,600, then that would reconsider my decision on supporting this or not.
Well, why don't we let this fail, let Bobby look into it and bring it back next month?
I don't know.
Are we okay with that?
Or you could do like contingent upon,
This quote's only good for 30. Yeah, we're back.
like,
I gotta work past that
Yeah.
anyway. That was.
so, yeah, an
that was
updated
October
quote.
31st.
We got till January.
5 days.
Yeah.
It's good until January 31st,
Okay.
or maybe
So
30th.
maybe we just bring it back next month with some updates on here as to how long this quote is good for.
And generally what they'll do is they'll give you like a 5% discount, they take a longer contract duration because you're
Sure.
locked in, but you'll have to evaluate about how happy you are with them, like if you want to keep using them in 5 years. If you are, then try to get a discount on a longer term.
That's a good call.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. All right, so the idea is for this to fail and then we bring it back?
Yeah.
Under reconsideration then?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so all in favor, say aye. All opposed, same. Aye. All right, motion fails. So the February meeting, put it down under reconsideration.
Okay.
Of this, and we'll have the information.
Sounds
All
good.
right, very good. All right, discussion and possible action regarding 2026 sewer rate. Resolution.
So as you know, back in September 2024, the board approved 2 sewer rate reductions, 10% last year and then an additional 5% this year. So I did kind of the same calculations to get to these rates as I did for the July one. And then I figured that it's my understanding that Town and Country was gonna look at rates after they did their big
Yeah, there's study that comes in.
Utility plan.
Part
end
of
of
it.
the year, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, the end of the year,
Yeah.
they'll have it, not so much on what the rates, they're not doing a rate thing, they're doing on what needs to be replaced and when,
Yeah.
and the capacity of the sewer.
I thought he had made a comment that they would look at the rates also during that to see what, anyway. This is what the 5% reduction.
All right, do I have a oh, Cameron?
Man, just so dejected there that I had a question.
Well, I was gonna.
You know, so we broke it between 2 reductions. Cause we were trying to be careful and see just how the funds were, of sewer and all that, so do we have any issues after the 10% reduction being in effect for a year? Leslie, we just
No, so-
15% off the bat, right? Like, you know.
It was,
Right, well, I think we still needed a little bit last year to help cover the debt payment. So I think was kind of why we pushed off the extra 5%. So
Right.
That's totally paid off,
Okay.
but no, I think sewer still came out good by the end of the year.
all right, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 sewer rate reduction resolution. By 5%.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same, so moved. Number 9, discussion and possible action regarding comp time policy for non-union employees.
So one of the things I was looking at, especially with given all the overtime the guys have gotten, just in the last couple of months. Was what other municipalities have been doing with comp time, and actually what our police department does with comp time. And that is being able to bank comp time and eventually being paid out for it. Right now, the way our handbook is written, there's no ability to be paid out for it. It's just accumulate or be paid overtime. And so I'd like to make an adjustment in our handbook that says, that up to 48 hours, they're able to accumulate. And then at the end of the year, be able to be paid out for it.
I don't hate it, but I would rather see them have to like use that as opposed to like vacation. So that way at the end of each year, they don't just bank 48 hours, because that's the way I'm understanding it, right?
Well, I mean, they could take it per paycheck too and get paid out for it anyhow. But this just kind of gives them the flexibility throughout the year. You know, most of our overtime is coming January, February, March.
Right.
That they don't know in November if they're gonna need another week of vacation, but they might want it for holiday moments and then.
I'll be honest, I don't think federally you're allowed to force people to take time on overtime. They can accumulate the comp time, they can take it off in time, or they get paid for it.
And we have it.
And I thought this, I thought the issue here was to allow them to accumulate this, you know, a longer period of time than what they are right now, but setting a standard that it can't go over that. So, and that's how the police
Yeah.
is written.
And we pretty much took exactly what's
Yeah,
in there.
so just so everybody knows, we are not forcing our employees to take time on overtime. They have a right to get paid for that, even if they've chosen to take it in overtime, they still get paid.
Okay.
They get paid. You can't
Yes.
stop that from happening. That's the Garcia rule unless that's been turned over by the current Supreme Court, which I don't believe it has, that you can't do that. So
You can't, what did you say, you can't make them.
you
take
can't
time?
force them to take their overtime in time.
Oh, what does that mean? That means.
That means like if you work 8 hours overtime, you can bank it, but you can cash that in. You don't lose the ability to cash that in.
So you'd have to take the time
But are you cashing it at time and a half?
off.
Are you
Time and a
Well,
cashing it
the
at-
comp time should be earned at
You
time.
have it Monday on.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, there's no
It's
change.
just helping them to make a better, more informed decision based on.
Well,
Yeah.
And technically, the village's perspective is they're taking this in time, so they wanna take 2 days off. That is saving us 2 days worth of
paying them
extra
out.
pay.
Yeah.
We're paying them, but. So there's an advantage of doing that instead of everybody taking it in cash, but they certainly can.
How does the village calculate overtime? Just out of curiosity, is it hours past your contracted hours or is it hours over 40?
So then-
Hours over 40.
So if you work 4 10-hour days, you won't get paid, even though it's more than 8 hours in a day.
Right, you wouldn't get one.
Yeah. Just
Saying
40
that
Then
hours.
I said I'm gonna use my comp day today for 8 hours, I just get paid my normal wages for those 8 hours, not time and a half for those 8 hours.
Right. Because your comp time, when you work,
So if you
that-
work 4 hours of overtime, you get 6 hours of comp.
right,
Time and a
right.
half.
No, the only difference comes in if it's like outside of normal working hours. If you get called in at 8 PM, that's outside of your normal working
Right.
hours that you consider overtime.
Yes.
Only if you're total out, like, no. So say that happens on a Monday, and then on Friday, so say they work 4 till 4 hours late Monday night.
Yeah.
They could leave 4 hours early
Yeah.
Friday, so just have 40 hours.
But if that happened on a Friday, then your situation makes
So
sense.
that's flexing their
Yeah.
Right.
I think they work on a
There's a-
40-hour work week, anything over 40 hours in a work week, no matter where it happens at time and a half. I think police are anything over 8 hours, if I remember that contract.
as your
I'm
super.
pretty sure, I'm pretty sure you're right.
That's
yeah.
pretty common in.
Yes.
We just modified that though, didn't we? Wasn't it the police that wanted 4 10-hour days?
Oh, yeah, no, they want 11-hour days.
11-hour days, yeah.
11 to 12.
11.
No, it was 11-hour days, yeah,
And they have not implemented it.
yeah. But we did modify that, yes, that modified the overtime thing, but
So anything over 40 hours would be time and a half, whether that's comp time or we get paid out.
correct. That is correct, and what they're asking for is to allow, because I think currently they have to use it within a week or 2 weeks or so. What's your policy now? I've read so many of them, I can't remember.
Right now, either they accumulate comp time or they take it as overtime on their paycheck.
But
So
how much can they accumulate in time?
there was never really a set amount.
Oh,
Right, that's why we are wanting to
Oh,
put an
absolutely.
actual set amount on here.
It has to be paid out, excuse me. Remember, we.
Yes,
The couple
but-
of guys that came and asked if they could be paid out a couple times, and we did make exceptions to the rule, because it was a ton of hours.
but I thought we had
That's
put,
vacation.
Huh?
yeah, that
That's
was,
vacation.
yeah, it was vacation that they wanted to get paid out, but I'm surprised we didn't have a ceiling comp time, because that's.
Right,
something-
I mean, that's why we're here tonight, is that we think that there should be one. and-
And to be able to have ability to cash it out.
So is there a maximum?
Right, it's not a huge.
Amount of hours they can carry over the next year?
Well, I think it'd be 48.
Police allow 40, unless that,
But what is the
Comp
village?
time or?
I think-
yeah, comp
I think
time.
it's 48.
It's 48.
Is it 48?
Because we pulled it.
Straight from the police.
We made-
Okay, all right, then it's, they can carry over 48 hours to the next year, but then I thought they had to use it by June or July.
We have
or something.
December 1st.
Oh,
on here.
okay,
So that's today, that's what the rule is today.
for police, not for them.
No, for,
There's no rule
Village
for us,
employees.
it's not in the.
The red stuff is all additional. We never had this in here
so
before.
they can accumulate 300 hours if they.
No, 48.
That's
Previous to that.
No,
No,
I just heard that there's
currently, there's no accumulation. You can look up if you, the crossed out stuff, they just get paid in the next paycheck.
Yeah, they don't get comp time.
There's no time to accrue that many
Yeah.
hours, because it's.
If you work overtime, you just get it in your next paycheck, no other option. This is giving them an option.
But they're, but paying at the, by the end of the year for that comp time, rather than paying at the next paycheck.
Correct, now they have the option to
To
pay
accumulate.
Yeah, but not,
vacation,
right, the advantage is they could take a day off.
correct.
I get it,
Okay,
but I just wanna make sure that we're not spending all that time to the next count.
no, we're building it at 48 and that's all they can have on the books. So
Okay.
you're right, the village needs to protect itself from that kind of liability. So you're right, you need caps and it can't go over that.
Okay,
Ready. for-
All right, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the changes that have been presented to policy number 2.05.
I'll say,
All right, I would. Okay, I'm fine with that, all right. Any discussion?
just change the language and what you have in red, that doesn't come, this, because it identifies what the police are doing, I know you grab it out of there and just clean it up, so. Right?
What?
What? Overtime taken, where do they read that? Overtime taken. 20 hours. Not scheduled
I think it was in the memo.
The supervisor must approve taking the comp time when they're in the discretion. I thought I read somewhere that this, never mind then.
It was in-
Doesn't the memo.
That's what I said.
All right, anything else? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say so moved. All right, thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, discussion regarding update on new pool. I placed this on the agenda because I think it's important for all of us to understand where we're at, because I think there's probably a little difference from the last meeting. I got the feeling that I was certainly not on the same page as other members, so I thought it'd be important for all of us to get caught up on where we're at with the new pool. And Sarah, if you don't mind, I'll start with you since you're on the pool committee.
I feel like because with Mike leaving, not much has occurred since we
Well,
last.
Tell me where you feel the project's at.
I feel, well, I mean, Cody is actually the chair of that committee, I mean, I'm just a member, but
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. I thought you.
yeah,
were the
cause
chair.
he's the Parks and Rec.
Well, I know he was Parks and
Yeah.
Rec, but okay.
So-
Yeah, it's basically in a
Okay.
still in a halt. I think there was kind of. I think there was a discrepancy between like this pool committee and the Parks and Rec committee versus the village board as to like the dire need for it, the, Parks committee. It needs to be replaced tomorrow, village board, hey, we've got a bigger project going. So I think it just got kind of stuck in turmoil. Because
I think,
I feel like every time it was brought up at the board, like there would just be kind of a back and forth and then.
well, I guess the one thing I would add is that we picked a location as a board, we voted on that. We have it in our budget planning. So,
and that's it. The park, we also, the village board passed I don't remember what it's called, but a park plan or something. That didn't have a date tied to the pool, but it had the location, codifying the location. And then it's in the SIP for 2029 now, it was 2028, but we just moved it in the last budget cycle to 2029. As for like where the project was, I'm not on the pool committee, but as I recall, we have done community interview, we figured out what the community wants, and then we, the board, passed like a preliminary plan, but it wasn't like a fully engineered one, but it was like the, here's the shallow, the zero entry area stuff, and we're gonna have 8 lanes instead of 6, and but then the next steps, when we got to 2028, now 2029, to borrow the money for the project, that would be, part of that would be the engineering, beyond the conceptual plan and then building.
Okay.
We had a memorandum of understanding from the
It's,
board for placing them.
Fairport East.
There hadn't been done, I don't think they did any core sampling or anything.
Well, no. So, okay, so here's where I'm seeing it.
Okay,
We as a board passed a feasibility study. We have that, and I think that's what you're referring to, the renderings of the different
yeah.
options.
Yep.
So that is out there. That's what was used to talk to the public. Then you did a public survey on what site, getting input from the community on what site to use, and it was kind of a close to 50-50 if I remember.
60-40.
60-40, okay. And then the board voted to move it on the property, to build it on the property near Bear Park, right, on Evergreen. Now, that's what I have seen, besides putting it in the SIP. Has there been any other steps on that? So here, this is gonna be my suggestion. One, while you've decided it's gonna be at Bear Park, at 16.
That was we.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
but I'm gonna direct it to these two because this stuff, what I'm directing, I think should be done by the pool committee. Okay, and this is just my opinion as an individual. So we have 16 acres there. Is there any idea where on that 16 acres we're putting the pool?
Yeah, that was in that drawing, that
Yeah.
was.
It's in the
presented,
feasibility,
yeah.
it had exactly where it was,
Yeah.
for both, if we had done either location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, and can you fill me in on?
Yeah, it's really close to Bear Park,
It's
so
like
it's not.
Where
like-
that shed is.
Okay, yeah, so it's the same place where the athletic
Yes.
facility was
Yeah.
gonna be?
Correct.
Okay, and then number two, has there been any getting letters of support from parts of the community? I would think that would be something you would wanna do. Is
What
go-
do you, like, can
Well-
you, just, I just want clarification.
Sure,
Who do you
so,
want these letters from?
it's not me, it's the pool committee.
I mean,
I think for sure, the pool, the swim team,
yes,
right? I would think that. I would think I would get one from the Parks and Recreation.
okay, wait, so when you say a letter, what do you want in this letter?
Well,
No,
Let me-
I shouldn't say want, what would you
Oh.
expect to be in this letter?
do we have all those letters of support for Village Hall Police Station?
Yeah.
Send them
I
to
guess-
her,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to Sarah, so you'll see.
So it's more of
It-
just
it's-
like we support this project. It'll benefit our organization because X, Y, and Z.
oh,
kind of-
And everyone's coming from a different perspective.
yes,
Right.
I mean, I will tell you, there are many people who keep asking,
Mhm.
when should they do that, and we've been kind of like,
Okay, well, I
so
think,
yeah, so,
I was thinking that's a step that you definitely wanna do.
right. Okay.
Now, has there been any talk on the commitment that the swim team is going to make to this project? Have they,
Not that, I mean, part of that has been really difficult because well, I shouldn't say that. I think I kind of talked with them a bit about swim team specific
Mhm.
materials. I
right,
think that.
starting blocks, flags,
I think, and I mean, we've been talking about a lot of different fundraising ideas. It's very difficult to fundraise for something when there's not like this is what we're going to build kind of
okay,
situation.
all right.
I know Mike,
You know,
Mike was apprehensive on going out to raise.
Yeah.
No, I'm not looking at raising, but
And
I
I'm
believe,
looking, by the
Fair.
way.
We talked to the
But I
Lions
believe-
Club about, can we start doing the raffle?
Well-
Because they want to be done.
and that's a different part fundraising, but that's
Right.
farther down on my list. Cause you're right, that. needs
Right.
to- But I do think it would be helpful to say that, hey, we, the swim team, will pay for the starting blocks, we'll pay for the flags, whatever you think is
Sure.
just for the swim team, right? I'm just throwing, I'm spitballing here to help.
And I would be happy to go and meet with the swim team board and talk to them more, to get a more clear response about that.
So with that, so if you look at what the Legion did with the pavilion, they knew they wanted this and they spent they spent 3 years, 4 years.
Well, they
But-
spent-
Well, more than that, it was probably 8, 9.
Yeah, I know, but, right, but my point is that they knew this was coming eventually, so they started fundraising for it and collecting money. So whatever organization wants to contribute, they can start doing that now in 26.
Right, I don't wanna get that, they can, but that's something for the
I understand.
committee. I'm just trying to lay out some things so we get all on the same page where we think we need to be. Okay, then the next thing is, while it's in the SIP, for capital, I think there needs to be, you have a feasibility study, but if you looked at the December issue of the Municipal League of Municipalities magazine, it was based on third places. I don't know if anybody read that, but it's basically where people go. One of the little things that they had in there was Randolph is building a pool. Now theirs is 6 lanes and a diving well, and their cost is 4.7 million. So if you could get kind of hone in on what you think the real capital is gonna be, would be another.
I
And-
think both prices.
Huh?
Feasibility study.
Yeah, but that's already 3 years dated.
No, we just did it
I think it's,
2 years ago. Well,
it's,
it's more, you're right, but
yeah, I think just kind
we're
of
in the
look.
ballpark. I mean.
Yeah, you're in the ballpark
Yeah.
because you said 4 to 6 million, but it's not clear on exactly what you're looking for to do it, but I think it needs, if you're looking to move this forward, the more you get closer to it, the more you gotta get detail. And then the other part of that is, I have not seen any numbers on what is the added cost of the operational cost of the pool. Which is probably more critical than the capital. Since we have a levy limit there, and it's been difficult for me to get us to get some levy limit for the new village hall and stuff. So you need to work out what you think the cost of. Now, you don't have to do it all yourself, because my next point is, has this been brought to any committee besides the Parks and Rec? You may want to involve like the finance. They did a hell of a job on calculating what the additional costs of Village Hall is. You saw their work on what they did with EMS. They are a talented group that if you give them some idea, they can help with that. So don't just think that you guys have to do it. Use other committees if need be on that. And then one of the bigger things that I think is missing, is someone has to take leadership on these projects. Now, Bill brought up the Lions, that's been 7, 8 years, but what made it move really forward is Lisa ended up taking lead on it, and she didn't do all the work, and there were obviously lots of people involved with that, but she was the one that kept everybody moving forward on their piece of it. I don't think you can count on village staff playing that role, because parts of that job is outside of the scope of their work. And I'm gonna give you a couple other examples. I think if I hadn't taken leadership on Village Hall and the police station, that we'd be where we're at today. I think someone has to be the lead. They don't have to do all the work, but they have to take the lead, because you need to have all these parts, and someone's got to be that cheerleader and boss at times to get things done. Otherwise, it's going to fall like so many things in the village. We're very good to getting to first base with feasibility studies and stuff. Look at the well. That was, not only did we do the feasibility and locate the well in late nineties, early 2000s, we bought the land, we had everything set, and then it sat on a shelf. Until someone took leadership and pushed it through. Same thing with Village Hall, that was done a feasibility in 2013, you've all seen that. So I'm worried, and I don't want the pool to fall under the same thing. And I think there's enough precedence in this village that you need to have someone take the lead on it. So I don't know if there's someone on your committee or there's someone in the community, but I would strongly, or one of you two, I know no one wants to do it, but I'm trying to be honest with you.
Understand, I think the frustrating part is you're asking a bunch of people who are in the midst of raising children and working full-time jobs. And that's why I'm having to rely on our staff, because as it is, I mean, everyone's always like, how do you have time to do this? I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
And so like to even think about that.
but if there's no one on your committee in a different time in their life,
I will,
and here's,
I mean, look, we know where the state of volunteers are.
yeah, I know. And I told Mike way at the beginning, and you saw when, you know, I was not a big supporter of doing the feasibility study when we did it. I said I would take it on once Village Hall and the police station project got done. But again, that's not gonna, we're not gonna have a pool in 2 years on that. I can tell you that this is gonna take us to the end of this year. There's no way I can get all that done. You saw how long it's taken to do the Village Hall. We're at a solid, good 5 years, 6, it'll probably end up 6 years from the time we really got this thing going, right? So I just wanna make sure that part of it is to take away frustration and to be honest with the community, right? You know, both of you jumped at me saying this should be done in 2 years at the last minute. That's why I wanted to meet with you guys, because I'm thinking, how the heck are we gonna pull that off? That was I didn't say it, but, and so I want, you know, I think there's steps that we're kind of jumping around. And again, I'm giving you my advice because that strategy has worked for me in getting things done. So I'm just sharing. It doesn't, there's other strategies, but there's a lot of pieces of this big picture that needs to be put together before we're at the point of even thinking breaking ground. So that's kind of my 2 cents worth on this. So
I think it's good advice.
you know,
Well, and I do think a lot of these steps, I mean, I think that was one thing that has been brought up with the pool committee over and over again is we don't know the direction. I've never done a project
Yeah.
like this. I don't know. So that's why sometimes I feel like I'm going into it blindly. That's also why I thought it was really important to hire a highly qualified rec director, because I can't do all of their jobs. I have my
No.
own job.
no, don't get me wrong. I'm not asking you to do their job. But someone has to say, Bobby, I need these numbers in this calculation for it. If you remember with Village Hall, I had that big spreadsheet with, if you borrow this is how much it is. This is where our debt service is gonna be, blah, blah, blah. That analysis type of it. I'm not saying you have to do that, but someone has to say, hey, Bobby, I need this. Hey, Carly, can you get me what we have on this or that? Or, Matt, where are the locations of the connections and everything? Is this a logical place? You know what I'm saying? I'm not asking you to do it all, but someone's gotta be the general.
Yeah, right, and I feel like I have some steps moving forward, and there are people we can talk to.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I do think this was good direction and productive.
And I think there are other communities too, as Jay was saying too, that you can, you know, work alongside and,
Right.
you know, I'm sure they had pool committees too. We're not reinventing the wheel.
Right.
You could have been asking, I asked Mike before he left, how many memberships did we have for the pool last year?
It was like 200.
Yeah, 200, and I think 40 of them were non-residents. I think it was like 160.
200, so who's pool triples that? So 600 people?
I don't know if it was AAA. Because no, here's another thing though, like swim members, swim team, are they required to be a member of the pool.
At
There
one
was a-
time they were, but not, we
Right,
got
not
rid of
anymore.
them.
And
I mean, that's the
that
kind
was
of
some of
stuff
the
you
crap,
gotta.
but that was some of the stuff that we would talk about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Revenue
Get
sources.
roadblocks with it.
Well, let me ask you something. Did you ever bring that idea to the swim team to get their feedback on that?
I mean, it came to if you had a new pool, yeah, maybe, but then at the
And
same
are we
time-
looking at changing? I mean, we give it the pool at a very reasonable
Yeah.
rent compared to what other pools, you know, so is that a thing that, see what I'm saying? There's things that I just think we could probably get some i's dotted and some t's crossed where you can start building, you know, this way. It's just, and I'm just giving you my opinion. People could, you know, and while I agree with the community input, the thing that was missing is when you go out and have people vote for which one to go to, because I've heard it, some people are gonna support a new pool if it stays at its location, other people will support it if it's at a new, so, you know, you got that playing out there. And then I think what hasn't been said out there is what the impact would be, and that's kind of what we need to kind of start looking at.
What do you, sorry,
The financial impact
oh,
on,
sure,
you know,
yeah, and
Yeah.
when we were talking about the voting location,
yeah,
I think that was taken, that was. Like one piece of information.
Okay,
for you,
good,
Because
yeah.
also we sat there, I mean, a number of meetings to talk about the pros and cons of
sure.
them, and
Yeah.
if the pros just. There were
No,
so.
I'm not, don't get
You
me
know what I
wrong.
mean, so.
Yeah, I'm not arguing because we voted for it.
Right, but
You
that's
brought it,
even-
you brought that data
Right,
to
right,
us.
so you know, like, even though, when we say 60-40 and things like that. People also, they vote, like you said, they vote kind of with that in mind, they don't always think about all the different implications.
No, I agree. I know.
So,
We had 339 responses to the Survey Monkey thing,
Okay, good.
and this is from end of 2023.
Yeah, see.
83% of which were Cross Plains residents.
So, just another thing to consider. Is what are we gonna do with the current location? Are we going to sell that? Are we going to keep it or?
Well, the library just wants to put dibs on it.
Well, the thing is, I mean.
Well, that, yeah,
But that's an opportunity for it to save some money on the new pool is to sell, because that's what we did with this building.
yeah,
Right, we knew we had a buyer before we even started building over there,
yeah.
you know, and that's another thing just to
I-
consider for the future.
No, those are the questions and things that we need to look in to move this project forward.
Right.
You're right. Sarah?
well, I mean, I think that's like prime real estate location for our village to maintain and keep. And I think there's a lot of really amazing possibilities for that land in the future,
No,
so.
we're not, again, but
Right,
it just shows you there's another topic out there
Oh, sure,
that needs to be talked about or brought up or looked into. That's just a
Oh,
perfect
sure.
example of how, you know, these
right,
projects get pretty damn big. The if it was a puzzle, it's not a 10-piece puzzle. It's probably a 150-piece puzzle that you just gotta keep
right.
putting together.
I mean, like, to be honest,
Mhm.
what this pool is gonna cost, like what the two renderings were, I'm gonna say is gonna equal the cost of Village Hall,
Oh,
right? And
well, I don't know
the
about that
amount, the
much.
amount
but-
of like crazy outcry about the cost of Village Hall, where you have people that work 12 months a year. That it's an absolute need for the village. There's a lot of people in the village too. I love the pool. My daughter's joining swim team next year. But at the same time, $8 million for something that's open 3 months a year
Well,
is tough to justify.
I think that's why you
That's what
need
we wanted a referendum.
you need a plan. Well, that's another thing that could be discussed. But again, we're not at that point because there's not enough information. But again, that's another that should be looked at and talked about. Not necessarily we're gonna do it, but you know, this is all I'm trying to do with this topic here is get us all kind of on the same page of where we're at.
You just
And
wanted
we're-
something to argue about tonight.
No, that'll be coming up. That's coming up.
And we have
Okay.
action steps we can take now.
Okay, you feel comfortable with that, both of you? You know,
Cody's like.
well.
Hey, I got 2 months left, Jay.
I turned down their finger, that's.
But
But
I
I-
understand you might, but Cody, I understand you're not going to be on that committee and stuff, but it doesn't hurt right now to get this list, brainstorming, get
Yeah.
everything that we think we need to cover with the pool, so you have that list, so you can give it to the next person, and they can start checking it off.
I mean, I went through the document center here and pulled up a bunch of the old stuff from 23 and 24 just to refresh
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, no, like I say, we had momentum, but it kind of died, right? I mean, wouldn't you, I mean,
Yeah, Mike left.
well, that was just in November.
Yes, but
But I hadn't seen anything since we voted probably back in 23, probably.
I think you voted on the location like my second meeting. I think that's
Yeah.
when you.
Oh, okay.
I do.
So that's 24 then?
Yeah.
Okay,
Cause like in 2020, end of 2023. The two feasible scenarios were between 4 and 5 million and 5.5 and 6.2 million.
yeah,
So add 3 years to that, let's put another 2, so those prices are gonna double. Or almost double by the time this is built in 2029.
I don't know. We'll have to just, again, that's so in the future, but I just don't want people to be thinking about that when we're missing everything in between. And to me, that is something we can deal with once that's near the end to me. But no one's gonna wanna build a $6 to $8 million pool and not be able to open it, cause we don't have
Staff
the
it,
operating costs.
Mike was pretty confident that with
No,
his.
The
existing
staff would stay the same, but you can't tell me the water and the heating is gonna stay the same.
However, your maintenance costs are gonna go down the first few years because that's a big portion of the pool right now is trying to maintain.
water.
Yeah, we're probably losing enough water. to-
Like I say, we can guess, we can throw all we want out there, but someone's gotta do an analysis,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Let us know. I would hope you are correct, that it's gonna actually lower our operating costs.
Only for a couple of years.
All right, so anybody else wanna add anything to this? That's why I put it on, just so we could kind of get updated on this, cause this is gonna be a major project.
Can we maybe throw this on once every 3 or 4 months, just to kind of make sure,
I'm gonna let Sarah and Cody decide that. I don't wanna put pressure on their committees.
Well, Parks and Rec hasn't been meeting, so that
Yeah.
has been.
Right.
No, Mike.
There's no directors.
Well, I am sorry when we did have, they're a staff person. I'm sure there's another staff person that can be there. They're not a voting member. It's not like it's gonna kill your,
Well, I think
what the heck?
well, I think we thought we were gonna get
That's-
replacement.
Well, I understand
So
that,
I think
but
that's part of it, so maybe.
So I
not.
think they can start meeting at any time. So
Yeah.
I think
and isn't the pool committee is a subcommittee, right? So
Just
you,
like
Right.
it could have been at the same.
Yeah, we would meet
before, after. Okay.
I'll just pull that together. You don't need a staff person for that. Cause I think there's a lot of outreach that can be done that you don't need.
Honestly, I think some of the pool committees just kind of tired of coming to meet to talk about it and then nothing happening.
But I think now that there's direction, now. that-
Yeah. And that was kind of my worry. That's why I kind of wanted to talk about this and seeing where
Well,
we're
we
going.
have come before and there hasn't been direction given.
Yeah.
So this was good.
Okay, good, good. Okay. Number 11, discussion and possible action regarding Parks and Recreation Director vacancy.
I'll take this one.
Okay.
All right. So, as we all know, the Parks and Rec Director position's been vacant since November. And so following the failed search that we had, the hiring committee has been meeting regularly to kind of figure out what other options there are. And the last iteration, the last meeting we had, there was a recommendation to split the position into two. So that would entail creating, well, there would be a recreation and aquatics director position, and then a parks and forestry superintendent. So by dividing these duties and responsibilities, we think that the village would attract more qualified and experienced applicants. We noticed, as I think I mentioned before, in the first round of applications, we had a lot of applicants that had very recreation focused experience. Some also had aquatics experience as well. And we think that by taking the parks piece off and already having an employee, his title currently is forestry manager, that there might be an opportunity to elevate that position and give some more of the parks specifically related pieces of that job over to that position. And then you would have the recreation and aquatics director position that would still be the director position for the department and would oversee the parks and forestry superintendent. So, you know, with that, there could potentially be some savings as well, being able to decrease the pay for the recreation and aquatics director, and then elevating a little bit that parks and forestry superintendent position. So we had put together what those job descriptions might look like, but would ultimately like to have discussion.
All right, I'd like to start this.
All right.
First of all, just so everybody knows, I'm surprised to see this, because I thought when I read that agenda item, I thought we were gonna talk about what characters and what we were looking for a new parks and recreation director. So I'm gonna break this out into a couple, because I'm totally opposed to this on so many levels. First of all, when you say you had a failure in hiring.
Just the search.
The search.
Yeah.
We had 25 applicants, if I understand it correct.
Mhm.
Did we have 3 employees or 2 employees apply?
2.
So we had 2 current employees apply for it. And 25 is huge. I mean, when you look at what we have, when we go out and look for people to get 25 applicants, I have to question that. I don't see that as a failure.
Well, I just called it as a failure just because we didn't fill the position.
Okay.
That's all. That's all.
But to come up out of 25 candidates with only 1 that we thought could run our parks and recreation, I think the first thing the committee should have looked at are there things that we could have changed in our process to do it versus trying to reorganize the organizational chart of the village and the department to meet what you feel is needed in a hiring process. That just seems really backwards to me. So let's just take that in itself. I think it's huge success to have 25 people apply. I mean, that's twice as many as on any other position that I'm aware of. That since I've been village president or on the board. So I have to question, really, there's not, out of the 24 remaining, there weren't another one that could run our park department, but not seeing the applications or the resumes. But I have to wonder if our notice for job opening was not what it needed to be to bring in the people versus reorganizing job descriptions. So let's look at this. It was 2 years ago, I believe, that we created a position for aquatic supervisor for one of the sole intent is to take the aquatic part of Mike's job away, because he was spending so much time. So we created a position to take that away, and now we're putting it back into that position. And for a facility that's open for 3 months, we have a director, a supervisor, a pool manager, and 2 assistant pool managers. That to me seems like a huge overkill for a village, for a facility that's just open 3 months. And when you look at what the pool has done, it's more just managing staff and the programming for scheduling, you know, so. And then you're putting the board in a position where we add a position which technically, if you look at precedent, we should be opening it up to the public, you know, opening it up.
Sure, then you're good.
But when we do that, we run the risk of losing a very valued employee, if I'm reading this correct. So if that person doesn't get this new position, what is the plan for that employee? We're gonna get rid of them?
Mhm.
That just doesn't seem like I am comfortable without even any data or anything that supports this decision, except for the fact that we didn't find the right person in our hiring. It just seems like we're throwing a nuclear bomb on a department when we should be really evaluating what went wrong with the process. Because again, I'm saying 25, my gosh, that's a ton of people.
Mhm.
So I am not gonna support this, and what I feel we should do is take a good hard look at the process and the job description we put out to see if there's some way of modifying that we do get the candidates we're looking, instead of redoing our Parks and Rec department and job descriptions of a number of employees. And I don't believe this, since they haven't met since Mike left, this hasn't even been vetted through the Parks and Recreation committee. And
I've
there's,
been updating them with what the process has been.
well, but do
but-
they know, did they meet? You told me they didn't meet, so how
They
did
didn't meet, but they knew that this was coming to the village board this evening.
Okay, and did you
Sent
get
an email.
input on them from the?
No, I did not.
Okay, so
So-
here we have a committee that has not been appointed by the board. It was appointed to do a hiring process. We have a committee that has been appointed by the board, and they don't get input on something that is a major impact on the department that they should be overlooking and doing it. So
Okay.
that's my 2 cents worth on it. When I saw this, I thought you were asking what's important for the position to look at the job application and send it in. I did not expect this, and I think this is a major change with no data supporting it.
Okay.
That's my feeling.
Can I ask just one question
Sure.
of where would, so I was supposed to get approval from the village board to assemble a hiring committee for this
I didn't say
position?
that.
Okay,
No,
well, I
it's
thought
fine
you
with
said,
All
For the
I'm saying
position.
is, you have a committee that you put together
sure,
that is now making recommendations to the board to
without
change
having
the
gone
department,
through,
that there's a committee and
Okay.
the board. We don't have any data
okay,
to do this, and quite frankly, there's a risk here.
Yeah.
If we do what we should be doing is putting it out to try to get the best employee for this superintendent position.
Mhm.
We have an employee that if they don't make it, what do we, I don't know what you're gonna do with
Sure.
them. Are we firing them?
right.
You know, I just don't think, I think
Right,
that's
and
a
I
bad position to put us
And that's
in.
why this is here tonight, is
Well-
for discussion and to understand what you'd like from me, because I have not received any direction as to how you wanted this to go. So I'm just, this is a proposition, came out of the hiring committee, brought it to you all tonight. But obviously, welcome your feedback, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Cody,
I don't hate it, to be honest. They think they're trying to solve a problem by, I'm assuming, not having fit candidates.
Mhm.
so how does that solve it?
I mean.
Did you look, the job descriptions are almost, tell me what the difference is between the current job description and the description of the recreation and aquatic director.
Well, quite honestly, the way I see it is like a pool recreation or aquatic recreation is quite a bit different than forestry.
Oh, I agree, but
Right.
that's not what the job description,
Right.
it says they're in charge of the whole thing.
I'm just saying I wouldn't just throw a bomb at this because I don't see it as being a horrible alternative. Like, I didn't see any of the, applications or resumes, but I'm assuming that the hiring committee was like, maybe we're going after the wrong thing here. And yeah, we do have a aquatics director, right? But it's not to say that, well, did he apply for this job? Was he unfit?
Well,
But
we don't want to.
and right, that's what I'm saying. I don't know all that, but I don't.
Bill,
So when I first saw this and I read this, my first thought was that and I could be wrong, but my thought was the hiring committee had a preconceived notion of what they were looking for. And they found one candidate that fit nicely in that box. I think we need to relook at what that process is. Figure out what we really need. And reevaluate what we're looking for. Yes, we want to replace Mike. But Mike was here for 19 years, right? If we find someone with 2 or 3 years experience that we can bring up to that level, we have the talent to be able to support that person. So I think we need to reevaluate the hiring process of what we're actually looking for in a candidate, rather than saying, we're looking for Mike. That's my opinion, my 2 cents.
okay. Judy, then Cameron, Bobby, do you want to speak then?
No, yeah.
Okay, all right, Judy and then Cameron.
I get it, because I do think of schooling. I think of if I was going to schooling for forestry and parks, I think that's different than rec and running all the different games and sports and all that kind of stuff. I kind of see why it is separate. The only reason I didn't like it as well is because I was thinking we're spending more money. But I do get why it kind of, where it could be divided. I get where they're coming from. I get where it could be 2 different kind of people. One's really gets into the parks and recs, or parks, and the other one's more into sports and stuff. So I don't hate it, and I get it. I just don't want to spend more money. But I get it. I get where they're coming from.
Cameron?
So what, I guess, problems have we had since the first candidate didn't accept? Because we were gonna repost, did we do that? Did we get
So
no applicants?
we didn't repost. That's why we were meeting to come up with alternatives. And this was honestly the first alternative that came about. And so we thought we would bring it past the village board for feedback. And if the feedback is to, take the initial one and work on that instead as one position, we will absolutely do that. But this was, yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
I can add, I feel like what Judy was saying, really, that was a big part of it, because when they were looking at, resumes, it definitely was like, well, this person has this, but not so much this. Also, because the salary was a big piece that was brought up last time, so they were really looking at, we're looking at cost saving measures. And so we thought we needed to make this position one that was at a lower value, because we felt like the position we had posted was at a pretty high value. And when I had talked to Carly, like, this would be cost savings as compared to what we had initially proposed.
Because I think my daughter went to school at MTC for rec, but she wouldn't know nothing about parks. Well, I mean, she's exempt, like, she wouldn't know. She could do one, but she couldn't do both.
Okay, since we're talking about that, and I agree, if you're looking at technical skills and stuff, but there are parts that I think, especially with the villages side, is what we should be really looking at is leadership skills, communication skills, how they work with others, are they motivated, are they creative, do they see big picture? Because those are the parts of people that are very difficult to train. Learning about scheduling recreation events, while there's a learning curve there, it's a much easier one to do than trying to develop leadership skills, communication skills. And I think people are forgetting, everybody loved Mike and he did a great job, but do you remember where he came from? he didn't even have 2-3 years of experience.
He was right out of school, wasn't he? Or pretty close.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least
years,
one or
but he
two
would-
times.
He would be, I would say, at Matt's level.
Sure.
You know, and we have been. Our hiring processes have been really, really good if you look at the people we get, because we look beyond that. We look at these things that are difficult to train: leadership, motivation, work ethic. Those are the things that are key that you want. The other stuff we can train, right? We're small enough that we can train. And if you think about all our current department heads, not one of them were coming from the same level of position. The only one that we had was both Bill and Brian as administrators. They had some time as administrator. Every one of our department heads have, and I can't think of any of them that were deputies or, assistant, whatever, right? So we're taking people that we feel have these skill sets that are really, really needed. We give them the support that they need. And there is a learning curve, but I'd rather have a learning curve on how to do budget and scheduling rec and using the software than trying to develop leadership, communication, work ethic skills. So I just want to make sure when we look at this that you got to look at the history of and how successful we've been at this recipe that we use to bring people in. Go ahead, Cody.
My question to that would be though, we were just talking about a 50, 60-year-old outdated pool.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna want someone that has pool experience, like. Right?
No, I would far take someone who is hardworking, good communicator, and a leader to take that project on than someone who knows how pools work and who maybe built a pool.
Don't we already have somebody that knows how the pool works?
Yeah,
No.
No.
We don't have anyone that knows how the pool works.
There's like literal walking ocean violations at that.
I know the pool's in bad
So
shape, but
you hire a guy that's green, he goes down in the hole, opens the wrong chemical, it's dead.
okay.
That's not the smartest thing. I mean, it can happen, Jay.
So we're looking to hire somebody that can run our pool and knows the chemicals and everything and the pumps of our pool. That's what you want for a recreation
You want him to
and
have a
park
baseline
director?
advantage. Are you gonna hire me as a sergeant in the Madison Police Department? No.
Well, I probably wouldn't hire you as a sergeant, but I would certainly hire you as a community outreach person or something like that. Because I don't have that right. There's a
Right, but I'm saying like,
certification that
you've
has to
got,
go through.
at this job, you have how many people reporting to them, like.
Right
They
now,
have to have some sort of like knowledge of the pool,
but see, we're
how
going,
it works.
what is Matt as supervisor? We deliberately took and made a position to take the responsibility away from Mike on the pool. Now the guy reports to him for that position. Now we want to take it back. So what is Matt gonna do? What is the expectation for him if the director?
Matt needs to be trained. He has not been trained in that at all. He was not there at all last summer. So,
Yeah, he's not doing it.
he has not. trained.
Okay, well then that's something we need to do, right?
Yep, and he'll be attending a CPO training this
Okay,
year,
That's
certified
perfect.
pool operator.
Cameron,
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying, you talk about big picture a lot. I think that's kind of what the community was also doing. You look at bigger municipalities, parks is different than recs. There is two different sides of it, and as we grow, there's gonna be more kids, there's gonna be more activities, there's gonna be more parks, more land to deal with. And kind of separating that a little early, I think, is setting us up more for the bigger picture.
Cameron,
I kind of agree with the sentiment there, I guess, but I guess what I was gonna say before you said anything either is like, I'm not sure we're big enough for like, that to be totally separated, but. When I used to work in the Parks Department at Eau Claire, which is much bigger than us. They would hire a lot more. Hourly seasonal staff in summer to manage the pool and the additional recreation activities that come up in summer compared to the rest of the year. This would be a little different, but is there any world where we kind of flip the script here a little bit? The Parks and Forestry Superintendent, given our size and, you know, potentially folks on staff currently, they're the department head and but they're primarily focused on Parks and Forestry. And then there's, you know, it's not an aquatics director. Like, I'm not sure we need an aquatics director. Is there like, is that section augmented with that title that we're trying to carve out, augmented with seasonal work? That's just an idea.
Like I say, this, like I say, we're looking to hire athletic, recreation and park director. Now, if we want to revamp what the organizational chart looks like, then we should, one, kick it down to Parks and Rec to come up with it. There needs to be some data tied to this, and I'm still in my head trying to figure out what the aquatic director does, what the aquatic supervisor does, what the pool manager does, and what the two assistant pool managers do. It just seems like a whole lot of people on a facility that's open 3 months a year, and what hours of takeaway swim team you're looking at from 10 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night.
The only thing I'll say to that,
doesn't make sense to me.
there's just a lot of moving pieces, right? If your pool manager is contacting the assistant managers who are making sure the kids show up, right?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what what tasks each one has.
Right, so I wouldn't say like your LTE 4-month pool manager isn't like some management job. Can you weigh in on this a little bit?
I'll do my best, because I basically put the pool together in the springtime and I pull it apart in fall. So I generally don't have anything to do with how it's operated day to day, unless there's a problem and Mike needs a hand for a couple of hours. The pool manager, and I guess I don't know what the assistant managers do necessarily, but the pool manager seems like they really take care of day-to-day staffing issues. They maybe check pH levels and things like that. But if there's any sort of like major change or filter, or if there's an alarm going off because of a chemical imbalance, that was Mike. Mike came in to do those things. I know Matt was hired to try and take some of that burden from Mike, so we had a number 2 basically. He didn't get trained up on that. That didn't happen this year. I think he only had 1 summer. I don't know how long he's been here exactly, but I think he had basically 1 summer to learn that before Mike left. So you would have someone very green coming into a very elderly pool. I've seen the guts of it. Yes, we have new filters. Yes, we have a new pump. Those are great things, but even taking that course, I think I took that years and years ago. I'm no longer certified as a CPO or whatever it is. The translation to an old pool from what you learn in a textbook is a big difference. Our pool also has issues. It loses a ton of water. So dealing with chemicals and their balance is fairly complex. Plus, we have had issues in the last few years with black algae. I don't know if Mike ever brought that up in meetings or anything like that, but that also seems to contribute to our chemical imbalances sometimes. So having someone green in that position, it would be a rocky road. And if your chemicals are not balanced properly, I think you do have to shut down pools legally. So that's I feel like why we talked about having someone who has had experience with pool before and can come into that, and then also take on this big project of building a new pool in the future.
Well, then I guess if I'm not necessarily agreeing with that, I don't think a director should be that tied to it since you have layers in between. But anyways, if that's the case, then maybe the job description should be based more on the pool, so you just get pool people. I think that is a waste. I mean, it's such a small part of that job. That it seems hard for me to believe that's what our focus is going to be on. And when you come to talking about building a new pool, again, I don't care what kind of an expert they are in pools, they're gonna be starting from ground one on getting it, because no one in the community are going to know them. And compared to what relationship Mike had to the community, he certainly had a lot more pull than you're gonna see from a new person, no matter what their background is. So I'm not sure this building a pool should be a big part of it, because to me, again, it's more on relationships and community building and putting the dollar signs together, as we talked about earlier.
That was one of the benefits was. Yeah, a candidate's connections to our community. That would have been a leg up.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm agreeing, but what I'm saying is it seems, like I say, I guess I've said my piece. If we want to move forward with this, then it's got to be done the right way, and we've got to think this out. Because Parks and Rec director, that's a big job. If you look at what Mike was all involved with, that's a huge part that I think is far ways out than the pool part. Now, if we're not working, if there's a change of plans on what Matt's job description is, then we should modify that. If we're not planning to train him in being an aquatic supervisor, then let's move on to something else. But
What if you?
I sat here, listened, and it was Mike's position to make that position. We added that position, and now we're taking it away because he left. I'm trying to find and get an understanding to this. And again, I am extremely worried about this whole superintendent thing. There's no way I think the board would be, it would be a huge mistake for us to make a move on that today without understanding the consequences of this and what you're actually looking for those positions. Because I certainly don't want to lose our current employee. Unless that was already discussed somewhere along the line.
I don't think we would have wrote it this way if we didn't feel we had an employee that could fill that role.
Because I thought we had talked about that. I thought that you could.
Well, then why wouldn't you do a memo looking to upgrade the person to this instead of taking the risk of putting it on the open market for a hiree? You don't know who's all gonna apply.
I don't think you have to
Well,
necessarily.
you don't have to, but it has the choice, and when you
Well, I
do a
put-
new position, it is the board's precedence in the past that we've opened that up.
Sure. But I think,
You know, yeah,
I was just talking to another administrator and she said legally you don't have. to.
no, you don't
But-
have to.
But if that's the precedent, then absolutely.
You don't.
That's not how you work this.
Sure.
That's where
Yeah,
that's why this is all just thrown at us without the justification, you know?
yeah. I just need to know what you need and we will get that information and bring it back.
Well, what do people, my personal view is you take a look at the job description that you put out. And I thought we had already approved to reissue it. Did we not? Wasn't that a motion?
No, but we don't even have to, it was, but we don't even have to approve it to repost it, things. But it was not reposted yet.
Well, I thought we did
We-
make a motion, so,
To repost it, I don't think so,
Oh, maybe
because
not.
there was just a meeting that we discussed offering, that candidate, what the offer was going to be, and then there wasn't a conversation after. about
I thought we said
reposting.
if he did,
This is our first meeting since then. So, but we, per our new policy, we can post
yeah. absolutely.
without having to
Yeah,
come
yeah,
for
that's-
village board approval. But like I said, we were just trying to
I think we
envision
stated that
stuff.
If he doesn't accept, will we be okay with reposting or going another?
Yeah, I thought we talked about
It was never.
I can check
But
that.
it was an idea that they wanted to propose and get feedback. I don't think it has to be so emotional.
Well,
I think.
then I'm reading this, I'm looking at tell me what was if it was just to get input, then I would have had it as discussion. I'm seeing it where it's approval, and I have extremely strong feelings on it, so I'm gonna express them because it's the approval. If it's discussion, I'd be different, but I wanna point out that what is being here is some of the negative effects, and I just don't see
Right.
the data or the justification for this, for me to make that decision. If they wanna look at this, but again, it should be coming from Parks and Rec. The hiring committee was to hire for this position. Now,
I don't
if
know.
they thought it was difficult, then they should make referrals to that versus going to the board, yes.
That being said, though, we, as Parks and Rec, we wouldn't have enough information just based off of what they tell us about 4 candidates. And.
Well, I'm not asking you to talk about candidates,
Yeah,
I'm
but
talking about the change in organizational chart.
But in order to understand why they would want to change it, we wouldn't have all the information either, right?
No, they should present it to you for sure. Absolutely. It sounds like to me, what they feel is the big driver of change is when you went out to get applications, people were on one side or the other. There wasn't this dual person out there.
Mhm.
So,
I think.
you know, but when that's it, but when you look at the job description, you're gonna get the exact same people because your first line of that one is they're in charge of the whole department. So they're still in charge of parks, they're still in charge of forestry, they're still in charge of everybody. So I'm trying to think what is different on there that you think you would draw a different group of candidates.
Well, they wouldn't be doing the day-to-day, they'd be overseeing,
Yeah, I understand that,
Yeah.
because that's kind of how it is right now. You do most of the forestry, don't you?
right, but I think
Yes.
just titling it parks, or I'm sorry, recreation director, instead of including that parks piece, I think you're just going to get more recreation specific people. That's
And I
ultimately-
guess, just being from my line of what I used to do, I am really curious. I would love to look at the resumes and applications to the 24 people that we didn't think were qualified.
You don't, I will say, I look at them, I've seen resumes and we get plenty of people who are not qualified for the positions that they're applying for. And actually, that's like, the new thing now is you apply for things you're not qualified for.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
End up eliminating a large portion of the resume.
I am not debating the process on that. I'm just curious to look at, everybody I've talked to were literally shocked that we had 25 people apply. That's unheard of in
It's
this.
because we had
day
our
and age.
salary range was too big.
Well, whatever, then we
That's why-
adjust, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I understand, it just seems to me the solution to the problem was way extreme. Not that you couldn't come up with something like this, but it doesn't seem like this is the solution to the hiring process.
it was just a potential solution. So like we said, we are happy to re-envision this a little bit.
Well,
Can
And
I make a recommendation?
we need to do, yeah.
So
Please.
can I just throw it out there that we repost position again? For however long you want to repost it for, reevaluate the new people we get in as candidates. And then if we still can't find the right person, then we can look further into splitting this up. But I think just reposting it, without even reposting it and coming up with this is a little premature. I would just like us to see us repost it, get a new batch of candidates. Maybe they're the same, maybe they're different, I don't know. And You know, I've been hiring people for 30 years. Jay's been hiring people for 30 years. You know, so maybe another pair of eyes looking at them wouldn't hurt either. But that's my recommendation, is just repost this, take another look, and then see where we go from there.
What does delaying this have, like, pool opening? Like, what are your guys' thoughts? Like, if we don't have a Parks and Rec director or aquatic specialist by April?
But Matt, this is not gonna solve that.
No, I'm just asking if regardless of this and the hiring decision,
That's the other question.
I wanna know if we're gonna be, will the pool be able to open?
We're gonna be tight already. I don't know if everybody's aware, I'm currently on FMLA taking care of my little girl. So I'm gonna be getting back like April 1. And it's gonna be go time putting it together. If we don't have someone who's ready to step into that role, I think we're gonna be behind the 8 ball for sure. It's even with Mike and all of our experience, we're always, you know, like, okay, pool needs to be like filled now. And we're always getting it done on time, but without Mike and without someone ready to kind of fill his shoes to do the startup of the pool, I think we're gonna be tight.
So, but it doesn't matter if we go with the new system or the old system.
No, I'm
because
saying
The hiring process, unless you guys are,
regardless of what's here, I'm just
Oh.
curious as to the opening
Oh,
of the pool.
okay.
Or if this would
I
delay.
mean,
Okay,
all
well-
that is assuming Matt or someone passes the CPO, so we don't have someone with CPO, it's,
Doesn't want.
Right, so
Yeah,
is he signed up for training?
there's a training in, I believe, April.
Yes, he did sign up for training.
Okay. great.
Yes.
yeah. I'm with Bill on, let's get this thing rolling, and if this is something you guys are still, staff is still interested in, then let's get it through the process and do a proposal where all the information's there, so everybody's comfortable with the
Sure.
decision making on it.
That sounds
Is everybody comfortable with that?
I think you
Is there a-
could run it in parallel, like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't. Pulling together some of the data,
Mhm.
maybe getting parks, the committee together, just, you know, to. Kick around the idea as well,
Sure.
you know, instead of waiting until the job post, you know, if we don't have a candidate there.
Okay.
And then start, would be my suggestion, given where we're gonna move.
Is there any legal ramifications to sharing resumes with the board? Or
We do,
members
I
of-
do it under closed session.
Okay.
So then there wouldn't be. a-
Yeah, and then we could like put it in the closed session packet.
Yeah. Technically, the releasing to the public would be finalists only. What are other people's feelings?
No, I agree with that, I just, you know, yeah, no, I agree with reposting it and I think in parallel pulling together some more data on the kind of split.
No?
Reposting for the same job description, everything, just.
Well, I would hope you guys would take a look at the job description. Is there a way of tweaking it or something that
Mhm.
might help you feel more comfortable with the people that apply?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we're
We're all
gonna
in
tighten the
line.
salary scale for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a different applicant pool just doing that.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can look at it all one more time. I'll pull the committee back together one more time before we post it. Oh, we don't. No. We do government jobs. We do the village website. I did the Parks and Rec Association, and then I did the League of Wisconsin Municipalities this time. Yeah.
Got good results.
Like, indeed.
We did.
Put it in there, everybody's just.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the
number.
thing. They
But
were
you get
very
100 applicants.
Yeah, oh, yeah, right.
That's why I'm saying it was such, to me, it was such a success because you did it to that niche and you got that kind of response and that.
Yeah, and I mean,
Move on.
The salary.
but we can definitely
Okay.
post it to the
Could
same
be,
groups.
I don't know.
I mean, people I'm talking to with jobs that, and like living in Cross Plains, that is really rough.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
And there's some, hate to bring this up, but there's some good AI software out there, so if we get a huge bunch of people applying, we could put it into AI software and have AI come up with the best 5 or 10 candidates out of that too.
And it can tell you which AI or resumes were written by AI.
Well, like I said, I'm
Hopefully we
trying
don't
not
have to do
get
that.
Too detailed into this, I'm trying to,
No, I know.
it's just this kind of cross came up, I think they got out of their lane a little bit, so.
Sure.
What is,
That's
what kind
my,
of time frame are we talking of reposting this? Cause I would think.
I would post it tomorrow and you can do a minimum, we generally do what, 3 weeks, I don't know what,
Yeah, 3 to 4 weeks usually is what we
there we go.
have done historically. But yeah, I can absolutely get that reposted this week and then we'll go from there.
You bring it back, need speedy. Give us a.
Oh, for an update on applicants? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to mention too, if, when you were mentioning, you know, trim down what the recreation director position. Mike did rely on me because I was trained in, biology and wildlife management and land management, and been doing that for 10 years now.
Yep.
Putting more of that burden on me to lift more weight was one of the reasons why we were contemplating elevating my role. If I'm gonna be taking on more of that.
And I'll be honest, with you, I'm not opposed to that. What I'm opposed to is the way it's presented as a new position, which we generally go out and post. And there was no plan on what would happen if you didn't get it. Not to say that you wouldn't get it, but if you didn't get it, now
Yeah.
we look really like schmucks. And I can tell you in the community, we're gonna hear about it. You're very well liked in the community and everybody appreciates it. So I am not risking you losing your job because of this new thing. So
Yeah.
that is a red flag to me.
Some good relationships here. I would certainly hope that
Yeah.
I would be a shoe-in for the position, but I understand.
Yeah, so, you know, another safer way is for your boss to do an adjustment in your grade and stuff, and then we can manage that a different way that we don't have to open it up. Go ahead, Michael.
It's just a question in terms of, I've been here trying to figure out what exactly the changes would be, or is this just aligning it with what was happening? Like how Dane's been the parks, like taking care of wildlife management, is that why you're the parks, you know, or whatever is gonna be supervisor, but then you remove the parks director from the director title, but that director is still gonna be the one putting together playgrounds and bringing it to the
Yes.
Parks and Rec department. That's where I was like, who's doing what here? See, it's where.
You're right.
It's where I was like, who is doing what? Cause if he's still doing park assembly and that, you can still leave parks director in his job, cause he's still the parks director. You don't need to pull that out. And then you become more the parks supervisor, cause your job now is parks maintenance, right? Or something, or what its name is, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know the exact title, but
Okay, that's what I was like.
I'm the maintenance guy for all of the parks and lands, yes.
Right, exactly. See, and that's kind of what it seemed like reading this is like what you were gonna still do, but this was just more kind of codifying what you do, like forestry and setting up
Yeah,
a pool and.
I think some of it was.
Yeah, because it was building on his current job description.
Yeah, I said some more administrative, things, duties for me to do, I think, involving the parks and lands position.
Right.
Having more of a leadership role in that, you know, with our developments, and we're continually increasing parks lands and conservancy lands. Having someone lead that, Mike was great. He was basically like, you know, you're doing great, keep doing your thing. But he was inundated trying to do both of these jobs, and so he kind of left me do my thing. But having someone to lead that stronger and have more connections with Ice Age Trail, with the mountain bike group, with all the different stakeholders we have.
And that was what he was giving to you to do these things.
He wasn't, but I would say that maybe that could have been a stronger part of his job, but we're all stretched thin.
Right, okay.
So I think that was kind of some of our thought process.
Gotcha.
Just something to consider, and maybe I didn't say this, like if the gap between. You know, like maybe what Mike was doing and maybe what you're capable of doing is aquatics and pool. Like, is there a world where that's the separated piece out instead of having a aquatic director
Mhm.
and then a forestry super, like, is there? Are we flipping things and it's not a director, it's now some sort of part-time position to do more of the aquatic stuff?
Well, and that was the direction we were going. We recognized that that position was getting bigger, so we did, that's why we took the pool supervisor away from that, cause he was saying he was spending so much time. And I can see that with Dane taking some of the stuff, like you've just mentioned, onto him and call it a different one, but that main person still has to be the one when a developer comes in talking about how much money to charge per unit.
Yeah.
There's a huge administrative
Yeah.
part of it
Mhm.
Yeah,
that,
that I don't deal with.
right,
Right.
So currently, that's why I didn't apply for Mike's job.
right, and that's why, and that's what Michael's point was, that's what I was doing, that's still in the job description, so I couldn't really see the difference between what we have now and what's being proposed, except for a few things shaved off of it. But the person who we hire is gonna have to learn that part. You know, so
And that's where your leadership comes into.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
communication skills, yeah.
Yep. All right, so is everybody comfortable with, I'm just gonna summarize, I think what we're looking at is we're gonna repost,
Mhm.
do that, if you need to modify the job description, you know,
Couple of things here and
yeah,
there,
be
sure.
fine. I think a second part of this, you can take all of this, but I think we should look at Parks and Rec, to look at Dane's position, to see if there's things that can be pulled off of the Park and Recreation Director's side of it, to go to him, and then we move him up a job description.
Okay,
And I think that needs to start with in Parks and Recreation Committee.
sure,
And I would think you would wanna maybe also talk it over at your department heads
sure.
meeting. You know, just cause everybody in this village has to help each other, right? No one can just do their job. I mean, everybody's gotta back each other up.
Mhm.
We're in a small community, limited employees, so we just gotta figure out what works best for everybody, that we don't overload and we don't lose crucial services,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
And I'm just gonna say this, I know inside this new job description, you were giving the position, the Parks and Forestry Superintendent of forestry duties throughout the village. I think right now our Director of Public Facilities has all those duties by ordinance. I think it's written into our ordinance that
Ooh.
he is the village force.
That is true.
Sounds like we need to do some amendments.
Oh, has it been changed?
I think so, I don't.
Updated.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, well, we'll talk to Paul.
There's a lumberjack in the back.
Well, as you can see,
I didn't think it.
no, I didn't either, but as you can see, there's a lot of things that have to be changed, right?
Right,
So if we're
absolutely.
moving this, part of the group has to look at what our ordinances are stating, what our policies are stating, and see if we can piece this all together.
Yep, we'll work on it.
Right.
Thanks, everybody, for the feedback.
Alrighty. Let's go to number 12. Discussion and possible action regarding moving March Village Board meeting to March 9th.
This is just historically what happens because I think it's the 23rd, is the first Monday of spring break. So I just saw in the last 3 years, we've always moved it to the second Monday. Just wondering if you wanted to do that again this year.
Is spring break still at that same time period? Okay.
I would miss the 23rd because of spring break.
But that would be great.
I'm okay with moving it to March 9th, although I am gonna miss the February. I will be somewhere in the Pacific Ocean.
Good for you, man.
Okay, where you're going.
With the water, right?
I'm gonna
I'm
miss
happy, well, hopefully.
I'm gonna miss this.
You're gonna miss the February.
It's
Florida.
on the left.
You're in Florida, so we're down.
Are we doing,
two.
yeah, are we
Okay,
gonna have
is there
quorum?
anybody else not gonna make the February meeting?
Wait, oh, we're going to February, okay, we're.
Well, I just,
I can not make it if you need me to.
Wow.
well,
I'm just trying to be a team player.
yeah, but my only concern is there's probably gonna be some things from Archstone coming
There are.
to the February.
They will be
meeting.
coming with the construction documents.
I
Yeah,
wanna move that one up a week. You know, two of us are gone.
I can find,
President's Day
It's
on the
President's
16th.
Day.
Oh,
I don't know if I
I
can
work
make that one.
17 is an old collection, so.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's,
Okay,
no,
so should we, let's just keep
we're keeping
February and
as
everybody
it-
come if you can.
I'll be here.
Okay,
Yeah, and it looks like there'll be 5 potentially.
and then
March,
move,
we would have that. Cause who wouldn't make it in March, just one?
to,
No, March 9th should be,
No, but if we kept it to March 23rd, how many wouldn't make it? That's what I was.
I would
thinking.
make it.
Cameron.
Yeah, I'd make it.
People with kids and their kids are off, Cody, Sarah,
I mean, I'd rather have it the 9.
Cody.
I'm not going anywhere. My wife got a dog.
I guess like if last minute, I'd be around it, but I don't know,
It's the
What-
same amount.
I don't have
Yeah.
anything for the 23rd.
March, so I.
So we just keep everything the same?
so it's still the 23rd.
March 23rd.
I will
I have
be,
no life, so.
I will be out the week.
I'll.
You said-
Yeah. You guys. It's fine.
I mean, you wouldn't rather be here?
No, I have a great time in Vegas.
You got a conference there or family?
Combo, I have to be there for work
Well,
the 25th through the 27th. Then we're gonna go early and do family vacation.
Oh, nice.
yeah, we had a really good
Aw.
vacation out there.
Single
Very
work.
All right, are we ready to adjourn?
I believe so, so we're,
That's.
no action, everything's staying the same. Future agenda item, anybody? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Third.
All in favor, say aye.
I-
Aye.
My height doesn't ever